I
Change
like it. I don't mind it.
video background. None. There we go. Oh, that's
It's pretty
better.
good at keeping you like not blurred.
Ooh. Coops is a real person. Yeah, believe it or not, he's a real person.
Yes, I'm here.
And we did get Keanu Reeves in just for this.
Yo, Keanu Daddy.
Yo,
Yo.
Keanu
Yo,
and
yo.
Mr. Cooper.
All here for Rebirth.
We're all here to talk about Rebirth. I
Yes,
don't
thanks for
think
having me.
anyone's finished it yet. I know Keanu's a little further than I am.
Yeah, we're close. We're around the same part.
Yeah, you've just done everything, and I did pretty much everything up to a certain point, and then I was like, yeah, I kind of just want to. I kind of did the same with Yakuza, but then I kept going back to the side stuff in Yakuza. But I've not burnt out as such. It's just I kind of just want to. The story is the better part of the game for me. So
I agree.
before we end up spoiling it for each other, how far is everyone? If you were to say, obviously, compared to the original game, so Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1 or whatever, how far are you in terms of the story? So what, if you had to compare like where you are in the story on that, where would you say you are? Like, what have you just done?
Just got the key to go, or no, I'm close to getting the key to get to the temple.
To get simple, okay. I'm literally about to go. I've just got back to the Golden Saucer, where you go in and getting the key. So you're like probably an hour ahead of me. But I know when you go back to the Golden Saucer, I think more things have unlocked for you to do now, like more mini games and stuff.
Yeah, the rest of the chocobo races and like more Queen's Blood and the arena stuff.
So, because I've done a bit of Queen's Blood up to like level 7, I think. But then now I'm just like, because I don't get XP for it, I'm just like, I just do all the things that give me XP to level. So yeah, Coops, how far are you?
So I love OG7, but I'm not too familiar with like exactly where I'm at in terms of that story. But I guess what I'll say is I'm in chapter 7.
Okay.
I'm in, if we're not like too worried about, like, I can say where I'm at, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
town I'm in.
because we're further than you, so it's more for
Yeah.
you. I didn't want to be like, oh, I've just done the bit where Tifa gets a minch out.
Yeah. Is that what's coming up? Nice. Looking forward to that. Awesome. So I'm in North Corel. And
Okay.
it's funny, like I had a funny thought when I was in North Corel. I was like, imagine being an NPC in this world, and like you could live in Midgar. You could live in Calm, like you could live anywhere, but you get stuck in fucking North
Yeah,
Corel. It's like an
imagine.
apocalyptic dump. Like it's cool, it's well designed, but it's such a
Yeah,
shithole, dude.
it's the
I'm like, oh
worst.
my god, what if I lived here? I would just want to like, I'd want
Yep.
to take myself out, man. Like I don't want to be here.
Use a fire
Anywhere
material
else.
on yourself. Oh, it's
Yeah,
like
no
in the
shit.
first part where there was like the slums area where it was just like no one had houses. It was just like lived in shacks. Like, or you could live in like the really high, like the above the plate where there's like
Yeah,
actual
Midgar, where it's
apartment buildings and
nice.
stuff. Like
Dude,
that would
I'd
have been
rather
cool.
live in the shack though than in North
Oh
Corel.
yeah, they're the
Holy
better
smokes.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
no, I agree. At least Midgar had the upper plate. You could work your way up to it if you wanted
Yeah.
to.
The
But
the areas are really nice. You're coming up to Cosmo Canyon. Not next,
Yeah,
I think
looking
you
forward
like
to
2
that.
areas. That's a really good part. Like that area is beautiful.
Nice.
What were you gonna say, Keanu? Sorry, I spoke
I
over
was
you.
just gonna say, like, with how beautiful all the cities look,
Yeah.
in this, and North Corel or whatever is the most identical to just the PS1 graphics.
Yeah. It's literally just a fucking desert, isn't it? It's
Is it
literally.
really? So it's similar to the OG, like closest to it. Because I thought Calm was awesome. I was
Oh
like
yeah,
blown away by Calm. I
yeah. The
loved
second that
exploring
game
Calm.
opens up and it's like, wow, this looks amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like when you play a game as a kid, you kind of imagine it, especially on like PlayStation 1 or Super Nintendo or whatever. You always picture it in your head, like you see it as it is, but then you add more to it. And when I first got to Calm, it was even in remake part 1 as well. I was kind of exactly the same. Where when you first get off the train and you go to like Seventh Heaven or whatever it is, I was like, fucking hell, this looks like exactly as I envisioned it as a kid. Like when you can see like, all the lights above and everyone's houses and stuff. I just thought it was so cool. So they definitely do a really good job with stuff like that. Like a lot of detail.
Is incredible.
It's mad in it. Like you can tell like there's proper like a lot of like love that goes into that. Obviously there's things that they're lacking in, which we'll probably speak about later on, but you can't like say that they've not tried with stuff like that, because yeah, it's crazy how good the attention to detail is. This podcast is stupid, but the logo, yeah. Mate, also it's scuffed how it's set up. I'll go over how we've set all this up after, and you'll just laugh at how scuffed it is.
That's how we always do things scuffed, though. That's how we do it, man.
If it was like ultra out, like, yeah, it'd just be a bit shit, wouldn't it? It's like trying too hard.
I know Fluff is. I'm reading chat too, guys. Like, I know we're not probably like the most like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always reading it.
Yeah. We're aware of you, but we're talking to each other.
100%. Yep, absolutely. And I know Fluff, you'll read it and it's like questions and shit. I'm sure if anyone has any questions about anything, or if they're playing, you know what I mean? It's always cool to get your guys' side of games and stuff like that. So I just hope, I just want to make sure no one's like, oh man, they're not even reading this shit.
Oh, yeah, they're ignoring us. So it kind of goes into what I was going to talk about next is visuals, like graphics, because it's easy to do talk about the easy stuff first, like how it looks, how it sounds. So like, what a couple of things I've just been paying attention from playing it was. The first thing I did as soon as I booted up the game, I was like, I wonder how long it'll take for you to find like a really scuffed. You remember in part 1, there was the door that wasn't loaded in, like it had like 0 textures on it in near Seventh Heaven. So I was like, I'm gonna wait until we find something.
And there was definitely some bad textures.
With where the game starts when you're in Nibelheim, it took me like 2 seconds to go into a building and find a clock that just wasn't rendered. And then there was a picture in it. I was like, oh my God, there's like 5 things that aren't rendered. I was like, what are they doing? But like, I get that they have to lower resolution on some things, but it's like,
right.
It's the things that are like, not everyone's going to run out the way and go into a fucking house and like look at everything, whereas like
not like us Final Fantasy nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see everything. I'm sure Keanu's the same way. Like at least I am. I want to see everything. At least my first playthrough.
Yeah, I don't bother running through everything. I'll sometimes just purposefully walk.
Yeah,
so I can take in everything.
You got it. Me too, man. Purposely walking constantly, just slow walking.
It's one of those games where rather than sprinting, I tend to try and stop myself. Like you probably noticed, I like stop sprinting and I'll start walking again, just so I'm like jogging instead, just so I can like take things in around me.
Got it.
I like that's always like a sign of like a visually good game, because I'm the same with like Ghost of Tsushima. I always do that shit. Like I never run around or sprint around on a horse. I just like trot along. So it's like it just looks so nice,
dude. That's one of the, to me, like you were saying, the actual visual design, the game itself, the graphics, like it's exactly like you could have envisioned it. They nailed it. It's beautiful. I mean, I won't go into the cons right now, but like it's just beautiful. Like you said, Keanu, and like you guys, like slow walking constantly. Like it's just, you feel like this is a really lived in, really cool world. I wish there was a little more life. I'm not saying go overboard. Like the cool thing that 16 did is it actually had people like walking through the environment and stuff. So it brought a little more life to the world. I think it's great in cities. Like it's awesome in cities. Like there's people everywhere, constant conversations happening. But like in terms of the visual designs, the cities, like the way things look, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. I don't know how many times like I'm just like, holy smokes. Like that kind of carries it for me that's a big part of it. It's just like how beautiful this game is, and like seeing the next area and like seeing like how gorgeous the next area is going to look.
So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that's like one of the things I look forward to the most is not only like just progressing the game, but then I know, because I've played the original, I'm like, I know what's coming next. I know we're going this place. I wonder what that's going to look like. Like just to run up to like Cosmo Canyon, because that's my favorite part of Final Fantasy VII. I was like, I really hope that like
that's cool.
They don't like skip it out, or it's just a little village instead. But Like the way they do it without like saying anything else, but it's perfect. It's exactly like what I wanted them to do it as. So even though like the area itself, like I don't know how you found some of the areas, Keanu, but the little jungle place before you go to Gungorga, and the place where Cosmo Canyon is, I got so lost. Like I finished all Cosmo Canyon, but I just couldn't navigate the jungle. Like I was so lost, I kept going around in circles.
Yeah, the jungle's tough, especially like because you're supposed to take the mushrooms to get to certain places.
And I was like,
and then
trying to jump up, and then you'll because the chocobo controls are a bit scuffed, you'll like go too far forwards, and then you'll jump again on the next mushroom, and you're like, no, I didn't want to go that way. So yeah, it's weird. But that's my only gripe with that area. Like visual looks really good, but yeah, it's just a bit of a maze, and it for me already I know the world is fucking huge, and I'm like, there's going to be so many hidden like ways to get certain areas. I don't want to spend like 2 hours trying to get here just to get maybe an experience like 100 XP or whatever. I'd just rather skip it. But yeah. So that's probably the worst area I've been to. Is the jungle. I really didn't like that area.
Yeah, most areas I've been. Go ahead, Keanu. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, it was tough getting there, but it kind of forces you to walk around instead of taking the chocobo and run around like the big open areas in the other areas.
Yeah,
like Junon grasslands, stuff like that.
I got things to talk about the chocobo, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that little fucker, the chocobo.
Yeah, and just before we like change off of like the visuals,
oh no,
for me, like Final Fantasy VII Remake was my first time ever playing any Final Fantasy game. So then when I beat that, I was like, I want to know what happens left, because that's only the first 6 hours of the original game. Like when you're Midgar.
Yep.
And then going back and like seeing how Midgar looked, like that.
Yep, for sure.
Like just how they brought that to life, all those still images and into remake. I loved it. Like, and now I've played like all of 7, like the original 7 before, like Rebirth and the next part.
It's good, isn't it, seeing like how, because it's like it's no different that I grew up with the game and you experienced it recently. It's cool that like you're gonna still pictured things when obviously you've played Midgar and you can kind of like make a comparison. You've like done like an opposite for the first part of the game, whereas like now for the rest, you'll have, when you got to like, I don't know, the trying to think like Wutai. I don't think we'll see Wutai in this game, but you're probably like, I'm already trying to think like what that'll look like. And I'm already like kind of excited, like, yeah. So little things like that, I'm just excited to see like what they're gonna do, and because they've already even in part 1 when you first get to Walmart? Oh, no, Wall Market, yeah, fucking Walmart. Yeah, it pretty much isn't it?
Can't go in a Walmart. Oh yeah.
I remember walking in there and I was like, holy shit, all the fucking lights, all the like, even the music was like great and stuff, and so it's good just seeing like them in like almost reimagine it, but more than that is like bring it to actually be believable rather than what we used to play, sort of thing.
Yeah, they nailed the look. Just to put it simply, the look of the game, they've nailed it. Like, to me, that's 10 out of 10. Not the game's not 10 out of 10. The visual design, the look of the game is incredible. Every area is awesome. I don't think I've been to an area where I'm like, well, this sucks. Even North Corral, it sucks, but it's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
They've definitely nailed the world design. At least in, obviously we'll talk about the cons with it later. But yeah, at least in terms of visuals, it's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So the next easiest thing to talk about, I suppose, from visual is sounds and music. The sounds of music. The soundtrack, for me, sounds and music in a game, I would rank way more important than like graphics. Because I played last year, well, Keanu played them a little bit before me, but finished them last year as well. But with Yakuza, I don't think there's one Yakuza game with a bad soundtrack. and it's kind of same with Final Fantasy. All the battle themes in all the Final Fantasies always have fucking are always good. They're always catchy. So I think for me personally, like just little sounds, like the sounds like when you pick items up, it has to be like a kind of cool little sound, and they always are like really cool little satisfying sounds. And I like the soundtrack. The only thing I think is a bit annoying is some songs feel a little bit out of place. They don't really feel very Final Fantasy VII for me.
I agree. I've heard a couple. I agree.
So there's one, I don't know if you agree, Keanu, but I think it's where you're climbing, you're going up the mountain just after you've got Yuffie. And I can't remember where you're going to. I don't think Yuffie's playable yet. But it's just before you get to the train tracks. And it's kind of like an electro beat. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel Final Fantasy, but it doesn't feel very Final Fantasy 7 at all. It feels more like I don't know, like Final Fantasy 13 sort of music, which is still a good song. I remember saying at the time, I was like, "Oh, this is a fucking good tune," but it doesn't suit the game. I don't feel like it's placed right, but yeah. For me, I love the originals song, music and soundtrack for 7, but
Yeah, the original is just iconic and
yeah,
nostalgic. Even though I've only played it for the first time,
Yep.
pretty recently.
So isn't like when the first time the boss music fires on, that's actually if you do the Nibelheim section in the beginning with Sephiroth. Isn't that the first time when you fight that boss?
Oh, when you get like the classic battle theme. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love the
Yeah.
battle music and the soundtrack. And like that's another thing I think 16 did a great job with too, like the actual battle theme. It's incredible. I love the battle theme. So and the boss themes too. I love the boss themes. And like you get to hear those every once in a while, like every time you complete like the live stream thing and it like points out the stupid like little boss you can fight.
Oh
It
yeah.
plays the boss music
Yeah.
again. So that's satisfying.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like there's some great songs, more good than bad, I think. But then there's been a couple of weird sections where, yeah, like I'm like, what am I listening to? This sounds weird. This sounds like a Persona song.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad. It's almost just misplaced.
Yeah, it just feels like
So,
I understand what they're
like,
trying to
it
do
goes
with
in a
it,
different
but
game.
there's a couple
Yeah.
that are a bit like I can't think of the genre off the top of my head, but it doesn't feel like it's part of Final. It just doesn't feel like it should be in a Final Fantasy game. But I'm not one to say what should and shouldn't be. But yeah,
So when I was doing chocobo races yesterday, like the different songs that played during that,
yeah.
someone said, "Is that Hatsune Miku?" It sounded like a Vocaloid.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, Hatsune Miku. You're right, dude. It sounds something like that. Very anime, very fucking ooh type of style song.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I like, yeah, the soundtrack's great overall. I just think there's one or two tracks, and I think with this game, the great thing about Part 1, which is probably why I'm probably going to prefer Part 1 altogether, is because it's literally like 3 hours until you get the classic battle theme. They like tease it for ages. Like you'll do a battle and they'll play hints of it, but it's not until Cloud's on his own he gets separated, and he gets surrounded that it hits. And for me, like
Goosebumps, dude.
yeah, it
It's
is
so
literally
good.
his goosebumps. It's like it's gonna come at some point, but it's like yeah. So whereas with this game, it's pretty much the first or second battle. They just go, oh, there you go. But again, I think it's the fact that you got like other things going off as well, like with Sephiroth. I think that more is a cool, but still, I kind of got like a little bit goosebumpy with it because it is just like quite an iconic thing. But I didn't expect it to be that sort of early in the game. I thought they might tease it again for a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty early. You're right. But I mean, you're fighting with Sephiroth, so maybe that's what they were kind of like, okay, this is cool. Let's do it. Let's put it in here. But yeah, you're right. Maybe they kind of blew their load a little early on that. They could have like postponed it maybe an hour or two in, because then it kicks back on with Quetzalcoatl, I think, right? I think the
Yeah.
boss music kicks on. Not it's
Yeah, you get like the
battle theme, not
classic
the boss.
boss fight music. That there for like the
Yeah.
big. So in every area, you usually have like a big kind of a big like semi boss thing, not like a summon, but yeah, like Quetzalcoatl, and you have
Yeah.
some sort of
Yep.
ghost. I can't remember the names of them, to be honest, off the top of my head. But yeah, that's when you get like the classic boss theme. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad that, because that's one thing. As much as I
That's the
love the themes, yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's the dude, the music. Oh, it's so
it's
good.
a great theme. But I like the idea that they're kind of giving every boss individually its own song, so you don't just get the same song. Oh, it's this. Yeah, this is a good song, but we've already heard it 12 times. So, yeah, I think they do a good job with that. And I apparently there's spoilers in the soundtrack, so I've not even like gone through it and flicked through tunes, but well, not spoilers in it, but the wording of like the title of them and shit
Yeah,
are
it might be for
spoilers.
like a certain.
Yeah,
Like Tifa's
Tifa's demise.
Oh, shit.
So I've not like that's
No,
what I did
not
as
the
soon as
Tifa's
Yakuza's dropped. I was like, I'm just gonna fucking flick through this and listen to all the like tunes and just try and find like all the boss themes. But with this,
Yeah,
I've like
for
steered
sure.
clear until I finish it to do that. So because I'm always a sucker for video game music, especially like it's kind of orchestral sort of music, but kind of has like a spin of like it has a bit of guitar in every now and again. And so, but yeah,
No, like I think they've nailed it. Like you said, for the most part, I love like when they how like the remakes theme, like how they remade old game, like the OG's music. I love the remake.
yeah,
Like I'm kind of a sucker for like I do love the OG, but I do appreciate like a more updated version of it.
yeah,
So I think they're great. Every time it kicks on, I get goosebumps.
yeah,
I get more fired up. So
definitely.
it
Yeah,
definitely helps. And like you said, it's so important. So many
mm,
games, it's like especially horror games like Dead Space and Resident Evil, when they utilize sounds and
yeah,
music so appropriately, or not at all. They know when to cut it out too to
yeah,
freak you out. So
yeah,
this does a pretty good job with it. It's doing a good job.
definitely. Right now we'll go into the more stuff where we're probably going to say we don't like, although I do like the combat, but this for me as I'm kind of 50-50 on combat. So in fact, instead of me going first, I'll let Keanu go first and see what he thinks about the combat.
Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, for anyone who's never actually played a Final Fantasy game, like if you were intrigued by it, never gave it a chance because of like turn-based combat. I know that's why I never played them when I was younger. Like I really fell in love with the combat from this game, like well, from remake first,
Hmm.
and like it's simple. It looks really nice. It's simple. You can just brute force your way through it if you wanted to. It'll be a bit slow, but it's quite easy to play. So I feel like anyone could get into it if they wanted to. And then like you have more advanced like combat and
Ooh, good idea, Fluff.
gameplay and stuff like that. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah. Oh, I just switched just something up. No, you're fine. Keep going.
No, okay, yeah, but yeah, gameplay like, and it also has that combat mode. I never used it now, but you could pretty much just let the game control itself, and then you
Yeah, that's right.
use like you just focus on the ATB.
Hmm.
So you do you know what that's called?
Active? Is it active in
Is
this
it?
game? Then there's a classic.
Classic, yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah.
that's the
Okay,
one.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I
Okay.
looked into that actually. I did a bit of that off stream, but it's for me the I'll go into it later when like it's me to talk. But yeah, I feel with that, I feel if you prefer like just turn based and it's a bit too much for you, like because it's not so much Devil May Cry as much Devil May
Okay,
Cry
let's
combat
imagine.
as 16 was, but
Yeah, but it is very fast paced.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
definitely, and it can be pretty tough at times, especially if you got it on like the enhanced. Because is it enhanced difficulty? Is it? I can't remember what it's even called now.
oh, you're on
Dynamic.
yeah.
Dynamic.
Dynamic. That's it. Yeah. Some battles can be pretty tough. Like I've ended up having to have like a heal on everyone, like a heal materia, because I always find that Yuffie dies quick. And then I'm stuck with like Cloud and Red, and I didn't have a heal on them in ages, and I just was buying potions for buying potions' sake. So yeah, I've found it like the combat. I like it being like that just because I love that sort of gameplay, but I like it that they've also got that to it as well, because obviously the people who, I don't know, they might be a lot older. They might not be able to sink 50 hours in and, you know, trial and error with a boss for, you know,
So you're
5
saying like
hours.
boomers,
Yeah,
non-gamers,
some guy who's only got 3 hours a night to play. It just makes
dads,
it easy for him.
losers.
So yeah,
What are you
people
trying to
with
say? Yeah.
lives. But yeah,
So yeah,
it's cool that
I
it was
really think
your first game as well, Final Fantasy.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like I really think this is newcomer friendly. Like
Hmm.
if you ever wanted to play them, and now I'm excited to play like 16. I
Yeah,
got that for Christmas and still haven't played it.
just haven't cracked it out of the box yet. It's good.
Yeah,
16 people say. I can see why people don't like it, but for me, yesterday I played it for like 3 hours because I was like, I kind of want to compare and see if it's as good or as bad as I remember for things. And I was playing it on hard, so I was getting fucking steamrolled because I just fucking can't remember the buttons to it. But I was like, this feels, if anything, if the combat feels a little bit cleaner, I would say in 16 to this. But I don't think
How
it's
is it on hard? I mean, just
it.
you know what I mean. Like, how is it?
16's, oh, it's fucking brutal. The
Is it
first,
okay?
yeah, just the first like section, I was having to. I failed like twice, but I think it's more the fact that I'd not played the game since release.
Yeah, true. You're
So
a little rusty.
whereas, yeah, and things were like 5 levels higher than me. So
Ooh.
the
Do they actually
game,
fight you and not just stand there waiting
yeah,
for you to attack them,
well,
bully the
yeah,
shit out of them?
that's it. Yep, and it
I'm
feels.
interested to see Keanu's take on 16. I do like 16. It's a
Mm,
good game, but I got some problems with
yeah, definitely.
it.
I think that's why they just did like the one party. Like you've got like a side companion and that's it. Because it's a bit like with this game. I don't know how you feel about it, Keanu. Me and Coops mentioned it yesterday when we were talking, but I feel that it's cool that you've got a party, and I really like the idea now that the way they've gone with it is that like when you're with the whole gang, so not just 3 of you, like there's I don't know how many there is, 6, 7 of you. That when you're in battle, they're also there in the background, and it's cool that they throw like the
yeah.
odd
If they're like
spell.
fired, it'll shoot something or yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they're
I
there just to help.
I think it's just done
It's more
mostly
set
right
dressing.
for it's more just for like
Yeah,
visual stuff in it.
you got it.
Um
Yep,
which
that
I'm
they're
not
there.
bothered about really, but for me I just think the party members just don't do much even in big
Yeah, you gotta use the
battles.
ones you like. You know, you use
Yeah,
the ones you like, and then
it's like
which is fine. That's what everybody does. But yeah, I see your side. It'd be kind
mm,
of cool if you needed all of them. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
So
There's
but I
parts
don't
where
know
they split.
how they get
So
around that. I don't get how they would like
yeah,
make them, because if they're just going to make them like us and do as much damage as us, then you're just going to steamroll the entire game, and then they
you got
can't
their
just
Yeah.
tough
go,
enemies
oh
then.
well, the way we'll combat then is we'll give you all twice as many enemies. Well, then the game will run at 12 FPS instead of 30
Yeah,
FPS.
no
So
shit. Yeah,
yeah,
no shit.
it's
I mean, they really squeeze that visual. Like, I'm normally like a performance snob. Like, I want the
mm,
frames. I want it to play and look smooth.
yeah,
And playing it on my 4K TV, it looks decent in performance mode. It looks okay. But on my 2K monitor that I'm looking at right now, playing it in performance mode, it looks like ass.
yeah,
Like, it
yeah,
just doesn't look good. So I switch it to graphics, and it's just gorgeous.
mm,
And I'm running it, and like I said, it's 30 frames, which is
yep,
like, oh god, it hurts me. It just hurts
yep,
to even. Oh god, 30 frames, like, ugh. But it runs well enough, and you do get used to it.
yeah, yeah,
The game is that it's kind of a it's just kind of like a I guess a compliment to the game, like how gorgeous it is that I
hmm,
will suffer graphics mode to play it. You
yeah,
know, like it's that pretty.
Well, yeah. I haven't
So
seen that. There's been no game for me where I prefer the graphics over the frame rate.
I don't
yeah,
blame you, dude. I'm normally the same way, man. This is like the first one, and it was because Fluff's like, dude, I'm playing in graphics mode. He's
yeah.
like, it looks like shit in performance mode.
Yeah,
I was like, really?
I'm not a
At first, it
graphics
didn't.
snob at all, but everything just looked
It was
blurry, and I
so
was like,
blurry. Yeah,
I'm gonna play it for like
yeah,
how many hours? Like 90
yeah.
hours probably by the end of finished. I want to look at a nice game, and I just think like Bloodborne. I'm like, well, with Bloodborne, it's probably the best Souls game, the best Soulsborne game, and I'm
It's
like,
it's my favorite.
it's 30 FPS, and after playing it for an hour, you don't even notice it anymore.
Yeah, you don't.
So, and
You
that's
gotta
with
you gotta get
this.
used to it.
sometimes with this, I'm like, this feels like 60, and then I'll quickly put it on performance. I'm like, oh, it's not 60. It's
Yeah,
it's
there's a
definitely
little bit of a
30.
difference here. And I do think, there are better areas, like where the game runs like maybe 40, 50 quickly, and maybe that, because I could tell at times too, like, ooh, this is running kind of smooth here,
Hmm.
and then eventually you go around the corner and it's like back down to 30.
Yep.
So, but it
Yeah.
runs really pretty consistent, and the
Mm.
combat would be, if it really ran kind of awful, I would probably just suffer through performance mode. But
Yeah.
combat still, it runs good. It runs good enough that I am enjoying it.
Yeah.
So,
And there's
but
always a lot going on. Even like the video that's on, like you've got like the attacks and the spells. There's all these little details that when you're playing at the time, you just don't notice it. But
yeah,
when you just watch a video or watch someone else play it, you're like, fucking hell, look at all this detail that's still in the game as you're like playing, and it's not it's not felt to me chuggy at all anyway. I know some people on day one had like a few issues, but with like frames, but yeah, for me, I've performance wise in combat, I've not died to anything that's not been my fault, just because I'm
yeah,
just kind of a get
yep,
good sort of thing.
you got
Um,
it. That's why I switched to dynamic.
yeah,
Like, I'm
because
like, I need a little more challenge here.
normal,
So,
funnily enough, I put it back to normal, but that's just because now I'm like, I just want to plow through it now, and because I'm getting to a point where I finished the story mission, and now it's like, oh, now you need to be 3 more levels, and I'm like, oh, do I
yeah,
really want to go and grind 3 more levels, or do I
yeah, I
want
see
to
what
just
you
drop the
mean.
difficulty slightly and finish the story? Because I will
Yeah,
go
oh
back and
no,
do
for
all
sure.
these stuff. It's just I want to just, because I feel a lot of it is intended to be played as you finish the game, like as end game. Because Keanu, when I was watching you the other night, you were doing like quests, um, like random quests. You're like, oh, I'm gonna leave that for after game. That feels like an after game sort of
Hmm.
Yeah, it does feel like
quest.
there's a lot of stuff that you can leave.
Yeah, like it doesn't have that big of an impact on the sort of game.
Ooh, is that you fighting the weapon? Is that what that
No,
is?
no, this is I've made sure that I'm
Oh, that's
before.
I'm
This
an
is
idiot.
Terror of the Deep in Junior.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. Because
which
it looks like the weapon. Because I've
he
seen one
does.
of them.
Yeah,
And
yeah. The weapons, I don't know how I feel about the weapons,
yeah,
but
they look
that's
like
just
the
me
first
being
one they
like a bit
showed.
of an elitist. It just looks
The
like a
first one
giant
they showed, I was like,
goldfish.
yes.
It's like, how are these
Yep.
the protectors of the world? They're just goldfish, mate, with fucking
Uh,
tummies full of water or whatever. It's
you
like,
got it. I was like,
ugh,
that doesn't look cool. They don't look cool like they did in 7. I mean, maybe
yeah,
they wanted to make them look more organic, like the live stream type shit,
yeah,
but just to whatever. Just make them look cool, like,
yeah. I don't
base
think
them
they
off
were.
their actual models.
Yeah,
You
like
know what I
the
mean?
original ones looked sick. I was like, mate, they're like
Yeah.
Godzilla type of monsters. I was
Right.
like, mate, this will be cool. I'm kind of excited to see what they're gonna make them look like. But
If
yeah,
this is the theme of it, yeah. Ooh, I'm
giant
not too
fish.
excited to see
I'm
them
just
all.
hoping
Yeah,
that
giant fish.
end of the game, we think these are the weapons, and they're not, and the big fuckers come
And then
out.
there's other big
And
kaiju.
yeah, yeah, like that's why I think it's weird for him to give us Leviathan as a materia. I'd rather have like the summons as the weapons. I thought they should have done it maybe that way and have Leviathan as like the water one. You know what I mean? And have
Yeah.
um not Diablos, what's his name? Bahamut. Have
Ifrit
him
or
as
Bahamut.
have him as like the like ultimate weapon sort of thing. I thought that would have been a good little idea, but yeah, they've gone with giant fish, which I don't know.
Yep. Or like I said, at the
And
very least, just base them more off their old OG
yeah,
models.
just
Like,
their
because you
own.
want to see them like
Yeah,
updated. Like, if your take is worse, it's like, it's just disappointing. But again,
yeah.
it's not the end of the world.
Mm. And we've only seen, I think we've seen. Well, the point I've not seen many more than you will have, Coops. So they've not really been that. But again, they're not even in this part of the game. In fact, you don't
Oh
even hear
yeah.
about
Mm,
weapons
yeah.
until literally until the end of disc 1, where they come out. They
Oh,
come out of
okay.
their like mountain, don't they, or whatever,
So they're
wherever they
showing them
are.
a little early here. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
which I
one.
kind of like that
Can
they're
I get
changing things up.
any of you cunts
Yeah,
a drink?
for sure. It keeps things fresh for for the people that remember 7. Because
Hmm.
I only remember tiny bits and pieces of OG 7.
Yeah.
Like, I remember all the major cities and stuff like that. So, but I just remember bits and pieces.
Hmm. Yeah. Other things about combat that I want to talk about. Synergy. Is synergy new in this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
because Keanu, you played it like a couple of weeks before, right? Part 1. You just like brushed up.
Yeah, just want to do a story playthrough of it.
And I
And
know Ruthers did it as well. But yeah, I like the synergy, but for me, my biggest gripe with it is it's all behind the leveling system of the weapons, like
Yeah.
the AP
The
or whatever.
folios.
Oh,
Folios or whatever.
and if I had to be honest, I've not
Yeah,
leveled that
terrible.
up since level 3. Level 3 folios. I've just not gone into it because some of it is like you've now got a plus 5% to health. It's like, well, I could just wear a bit of material that gives me way more than that. It's like, I don't really feel I'm benefiting much. And I looked at the whole tree and I'm like, other than limit breaks, it's like, I don't really get the point in it. Like, I just think for me, it's probably the worst level, like, way to get extra abilities in any Final Fantasy. I think they really, like, fucked up with what's it called? I don't even know what it could be called.
I
The
think it's like the
Folios.
character. Yeah.
Oh, the
Yep,
folio,
yeah,
that's
the
it, yeah.
folios. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really don't like it. I thought 16s was really basic, and I was like, this is a bit too easy, but at least it was easy to see where your build was going to be and like if I level this up, what impact is this going to have, sort of thing. But yeah,
Well, that's the thing though. Like if you level something, you can just reset it. There's
yeah,
no cost to
True.
it.
yeah,
true.
I like that. So you can kind of play about with it. But I felt that like even if I do level everything up, or I just have it of what I've got it now, I don't really notice like a big leap in damage or in, you know what I mean?
No.
So
Nope.
yeah,
Yeah, I
It's
haven't
more for
looked.
the visual flair and the effect of the ability itself.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But like the synergy attacks, they do pretty decent damage. Like
Yeah. That's
it's
probably
pretty
what's
big
best
hit.
for the
And it's
folios.
cool. They look cool. But
Mm.
you're right. It's not very. It's not satisfying going through that tree. It
Mm.
doesn't feel like you're getting like really good bonuses and benefits. Every so often, I find something I like. Like Yuffie got like plus 50 luck. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty good because that's gonna help her crit chance, and I have her just going ham, and she attacks fast.
Yeah.
But so there is every so often you find something cool there. But you're right. More often than not, like it's just kind of click the buttons and just keep going forward and just that's all there is to it. And like okay, if I know like my main team I use is like Barrett and Yuffie, so I just kind of make sure I get those folios, those synergy abilities, and then maybe like with Tifa because I use Tifa as well, I'll make sure I get hers as well. But you're
Mm.
right, like I didn't feel like, oh, I'm unlocking some cool abilities or some new techniques,
Yeah.
so
No,
it's weird.
definitely.
I don't know. The RPG element lately of Final Fantasy, like leveling up, and this was like partially my problem with 16 was it just doesn't feel like you're leveling up anymore. You're seeing that strength. You do level up, but it just you don't feel it. You know what I mean? You just keep playing the game and you just go. Like I don't get that OG feeling of like grinding out, fighting enemies, exploring places, getting stronger, that satisfaction. More or less you're just kind of going to the next area, fighting the next enemies, getting to the boss, and that's it. Like I remember like playing the older RPGs, even these ones, and like you get to a boss and it just slaps you down, and you got to grind to beat them.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a bummer with this is with the folios, they're not satisfying to level up your characters,
Mm.
unfortunately.
Yeah, like I like, with weapons. I think they fucked up and they put because you
Well,
can
yes, they
auto
did.
do it with your weapons where
Yep.
you have like the added things you can put like 10% more damage or
Yep.
more
Yeah.
MP. I don't think they should have done it so you can automatically do it for that. I think they should have put a menu in the folios where you go, okay, I want Cloud to be more magic focused. So can you
Got it.
just unlock everything automatically for me, magic? I think that would have been way better than them doing it for weapon, which is literally
Yep.
3 buttons that you can alter, or 4 on some weapons.
Yeah, I kept going through the weapons because it's like you have certain amount of like SP or whatever it is for the weapon out of like its max.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I level up the weapons like I did in Remake?
Yeah.
Where's that menu? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Bro, you are not the only one. I clicked upgrade weapons, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What
What
does
am I
this
upgrading?
mean?
What's the point of that menu?
guys, they're trolling you. They're trolling all of us because they fucking show in the tutorial, they show a picture of the old menu from Remake with like the spheres and the planets. I'm like, well, it's there. They showed it in the tutorial. And
Yeah.
then when you're playing, and I'm like, I'm hitting upgrade weapons. I'm like, where do I go from here? And then I read something that's like, oh, it automatically upgrades. But there's a thing that says upgrade weapons. Why? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's just like they're trolling us, man. They know. They're like, yeah, we're screwing with them.
Yeah.
You're right, Keanu, dude. I did the same thing.
Dude,
I was going
I
crazy.
feel
Yeah, I was looking at it multiple times, like, am I stupid?
Am
Yeah.
I stupid? Exactly.
And because you're picking up so many materials as well, you think, oh well, maybe I can upgrade them or put like a specific element on them. But yeah, there's just nothing. That menu is like pointless. So it doesn't give you anything. So
With the
yeah,
picking up of items and stuff like that you think you can, like, what do you think of the crafting, the transmutation?
I like the crafting, but my gripe is I'd say about 50% of the game I played with like 3 slots or 4 slots at most on like items. I think the like accessories are better that you can craft, because I've had one on Cloud that basically gives him a jump in faith, basically physical defense and magic defense. So Cloud's just had that on since like day one. Since I unlocked it.
What is it? What do you have equipped on him?
I can't remember the exact item, but it basically gives me like 50 plus to spirit and endurance.
Oh wow!
Plus,
damn.
it gives me like, I think I can't be silenced. There's another status element that I can't be done, basically.
That's good.
So that's really good. But yeah, I like the crafting system, but I just feel you don't. Like, now I'm like 66 hours in, I think, and I've just started getting like items where I can put a lot of materia in, and that's great, but I don't have a lot of materia to put in. Like, it's all just the same copy paste materia, really, for everyone.
Well, you have your 5 lightnings and your 4 winds and your
And I feel like the elements themselves are just kind of redundant once you get Yuffie. I think I don't know who everyone's using, but I'm using Yuffie, Red, and Cloud. And Red, to begin with, I was playing as him because he if I'd scan someone and it would say this guy's weak to fire, I would throw fire at him. Whereas now with Yuffie, I scan with Cloud, and then just do fire ninjutsu, and that's it. So I feel like they've missed something there with like, should have just added way more different stuff with materia. Because I just feel a lot of it's a bit shit. Like, really, in the journey, we're more than halfway into the journey now of the like whole story, and I feel like we've not got any materia that would fight Sephiroth if you were to like think about that. Like, whereas like in OG Final Fantasy, you get like enemy skill, for example, you get like beta, you get trine, and you'd use those the entire game, or like Matra Magic, you'd use that. Multiple enemies.
They could have toned them down, dude. Like, they could give you that and tone them down, or you get it like lower levels of them, and you got to level it up to get
like use it more or something. Yeah,
right.
But I just feel like all the last boss is going to be is we'll just twat him a load of times. I don't feel there'll be any. Oh, you didn't level up fire materia, so you kind of fucked here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no shit.
So for me,
those abilities, it does minimize them.
Yeah,
I agree. And Yuffie, like, I love her, but she does minimize the ability to use your reasoning to use that material.
Yeah,
like you said. So, because you can just use all those abilities, which is nice on one hand. It's a nice convenience, but like, the materia is supposed to be cool and important in the game. Like you said, do more unique things with it, then make it different, make it way cooler, unique, better abilities, and and then just make it balanced, so you can't just like cast one ability and kill everything every time. So
yeah. Keanu, what did you think to the item? I know you asked, but
I just really enjoyed it. I think it's simple. It was annoying that I was a certain level in it, and then to craft the items to actually level up, what I needed was in a region that I didn't unlock.
Not got yet. Yeah.
In the next region.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I think though, the way we all play this game isn't what the devs want us to play it. I think the devs want you just to always be pushing on and doing a couple of missions, but then moving on. As I've
Yeah,
been
so you can
doing
go
that,
back.
yeah, I feel that like, oh, I've got loads of this material, but I can't use it now. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
the way, because I think all three of us, I know Rubbers definitely made this mistake as well, but the minute you get out of Calm, did you two guys both just? Oh no, actually, Coops. I think I warned you about this, so you'll have just gone to get a chocobo straight away.
Right.
But the
Yep.
first night, I was going mental. I was like, "This game is a game of nothing. There's nothing in the map. There's nothing anywhere." I was walking up to like towers. I was like, "I can't do anything. I can
Oh,
climb this tower, but I
that's
can't press the
great.
button at the top of it." And I was like, "Oh, there's a
Oh,
little
that's
fucking
funny.
house here, a little like broken apart building. What's in there? Nothing. Not even an enemy." And I was like, "Oh,
Right.
chocobo farm. Oh, cool. I can't get in. It's locked." I was like, "What's going on?" So then later down the line, you realize, "Oh, I'll just continue. Oh, now I've got to go and get a chocobo. Oh, I see what the game's doing now." So
Yeah, where it
yeah,
kind of lets you interact with the boring shit.
and I
Yep.
stuff like that annoys me because it's like, just let. I understand you want people to go and do that, and they will do that by just exploring, but just
Yep.
put Chadley outside the fucking gates of Calm
Put
and
Chadley
let
in
us meet him.
charge.
Let us do all that shit, and then let us free roam from there. Because I spent 5 hours that first night. I could have saved 5 hours of my life, but instead I fucking
You can thank Chadley
molded.
for that.
Yeah.
You can thank him for that.
So,
Bitch.
yeah. But Keanu, did you do the same, or did you just progress until you got a chocobo? Were you clever?
I can't remember. I don't remember running into that issue,
Do you
but I
not?
did as soon as I was able to do any side things. I went to every single
Yeah.
icon on the map.
Yeah.
Same. Yep. Yeah.
So I don't think I had that, but
Yeah, the problem I had is the minute you get out of
Yeah, you
Calm,
warned me.
you have like a mission marker. But I was like, this is in the swamp. I'm not going to go to the swamp without exploring and
yeah,
getting a chocobo. So
Yep.
I literally walked all the way around that first area, uncovered everything.
Oh,
And I
shit.
was, by the time I got to the mission, I was pissed off. I was like, this is terrible. There's just nothing to do. I was like, surely something's bugged or, and then I realized, oh, I should have progressed. I was an idiot.
That's kind
But
of bad game design. Like that's a
yeah.
problem if that can happen. I agree. That's like they should have at least warned you or done something. Like at least guide
Yeah.
you to the area.
Or you know,
So
like in some parts of the game, like right at the beginning, where you're playing, where you're playing in the flashback in Nibelheim, and you
Yep.
try and like veer off. I don't know if you tried to veer off course or anything, but I tried to like go and explore. I was like, oh, I want to go and look at the Shinra Mansion. It doesn't let you. It like stops you and turns you around.
Yep.
It should just
It
do
keeps
that
it.
until you get to the first
Yeah.
mission.
Yep.
Because as frustrating as that would be, I'd be way less frustrated than I
Wasting
was.
that time.
Yeah, than wasting all that
Yeah.
time that was left. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in combat that I've missed before I move on. No, the last notes that I put was Sphere Grid. What were they thinking? Question mark. So no, that's everything I wanted to talk about. Anyone else have anything to say about combat before we move on?
Did
Or are we
you
all
did you
happy?
Keanu?
not with the combat. No.
Okay.
I just say overall it's good. I like the combat. I use Yuffie and Barrett is kind of like my main team that I like. And yeah, I agree with you. They don't use enough materia. Like I have my team kind of set up like Barrett's like like he's not a healer, but he's got lifesaver, so he takes all the damage. And then he uses chakra when his health gets low, and he heals himself. So it's cool. I used that in remake, and they brought it over for rebirth. Takes a while to unlock all the abilities for it, but no, but overall, like I like the combat. I enjoy it. I don't know if you want to get into like the enemies and all that yet. Like the variety. Is that do you want to like lump that in with
Yeah, we could
combat?
do. I've not even done anything for enemies, so yeah, could do something for enemies. I think. Do you want to? Since you started, I'll let you say about enemies first.
So like I guess we'll talk about or I'll talk about leading from combat is you're running around these beautiful areas. We already touched on like how beautiful all these areas are. And I think like one of the major like sins they committed is just like there's just not enough enemies or variety. And for the most part, you're fighting like we talked about this the other night where it would have been cooler, like depending on where you're at, like the certain biomes and stuff like that, they
Mhm.
had those types of enemies. Like if it's a desert, they had cactuars and like fire type enemies. If it's a snow, I don't know if there's a snowy area or whatever, but if there is, like you would fight snow themed areas. Like,
Mm.
and they just kind of feel like they place these weird enemies in weird spots.
Yeah.
As I'm getting further, it feels like it's getting a little bit better, but at least for the big chunk, probably 20 to 30 hours of the game, it's a little disappointing that these areas are gorgeous. They're just not really populated well with like the enemies. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know how many times I run through like this really awesome area, this like war torn warehouse, like these really cool like yachts, like boats that are crashed all in together, like the Nebel, no Junin. The
Yeah.
Junin region was awesome, and
Mhm.
there's just so many wasted areas. Like there could have been Shinra dudes patrolling because that's a Shinra area, and
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
fight Shinra. Like remember how they did it in 15 where they would drop dudes
Drop
in
ship.
on top of
Yeah.
you? Thought that was cool. Like they could have brought that in. Like I
Mm.
just feel like they wasted a lot of the opportunities for combat, and partly because they're afraid like are you going to over level? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I mean, I don't want to be tripping on enemies. Like there
Yeah.
is too much, but you know what I mean? There is such a thing like you can definitely go overboard with it. But I think, like I said, I think one of the big things, unfortunately, in terms of the enemies, just not enough variety for now, at least, and not
Mm.
enough of them. I just feel like they kind of waste that.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the first 30 hours of the game, you just fight 7 different colors of troll.
Yeah,
You fight the same dogs in every area, or
like
wolves.
these weird little like man, whatever they are, like
Yeah,
plants, like
I'm
these
just
little
like,
plants.
I'm kind of bored of it, and it's like, why am I having to scan? It's a troll. It's the same enemy I just fought. It's just yellow now. It's like,
Yep.
I just don't understand it. So for me, there's a million and one enemies that they could have done in Final Fantasy, and I feel like we'll touch on it later on when we talk about like gameplay and stuff. But I feel
Sure.
they've tried to take too many things from other games rather than looking at what they've got as a whole of
Yes.
in Final Fantasy. They don't even need to look at what Witcher does well or what these games,
Sure.
Assassin's Creed or whatever they're trying to take from. They should just look at,
Far
well,
Cry.
what game did like exploration the best? You're probably going to say like 7, 8, or 9 because they are fully open world. You can interact with a lot of things, a lot of stuff to do.
Yep.
So we'll take more things from that, and then with like enemy variety. Okay, well, what game had the wackiest enemy? But I just
The
feel that
COD game
they've
has more fucking enemy variety. Queen's
yeah
Blood. Like, where are these guys at? Well, I
yeah
want to
yeah
fight these cucks. Why am I fighting a squirrel? I'm fighting 2 squirrels over here
yeah.
and a ostrich. Like, what am I fighting? Like, Jesus. Sorry, I didn't even mean to interrupt you.
No, it's true
It's like,
though.
what's going on?
No, it's I don't. And suppose I just expect too much because I just think, well, from a Final
True.
Fantasy, I just think in OG, and I know that one was the whole game, but this is 90 hours. This is longer than any Final Fantasy playthrough I did when I played them all, and I did everything in a lot of them. So I just feel like it's a bit lazy, and there's probably reasons behind it, but yeah, the enemy variety for me is until later on, then you start getting the more weird types of enemies.
I agree. I'm
Um,
starting to see some cooler stuff.
mm,
I am in the Corel region and I'm starting to see some cooler stuff. So I
yeah,
agree. I even thought to myself, because unfortunately, like as I'm playing this game, like, and you even said it, like the meat and the potatoes of the game, it just sucks, right? Like
mm,
the majority of what you're doing is just kind of is disappointing.
mm,
There's high moments. The game is so great in so many ways. It's just the exploration of the world is just really repetitive. So, oh god, I forgot the point I was trying to make. But anyways, move on to the next thing. What next thing
mm.
you were going to talk about, and I'll keep
Um,
going from
so
there.
next, thought we'd talk about characters. So you don't have to talk about everyone, but
Okay, let's Keanu. Let's Keanu had something to say. Sorry, I don't want to steamroll over Keanu.
yeah, yeah,
No,
generally
it's pretty much just the same thing
the
as
same.
you guys. Like it's you
Mm,
have 1 or 2 enemies, and then once you've like assessed everything, and you can go face the big kind of mob of the area that you summon
Yeah.
in.
yeah,
Yep.
and I really like
Like
the assessing. I didn't realize
Me too.
how important it is until like 10 hours gameplay ago. Because I was like, I assessed someone. I was like, he's telling me how
It's very important in
to
this
pressure
one.
him. I was like, hang on.
Yes.
And then I was like, it does that for everything. I was like, the game would have been
Oh,
so much
shit.
easier with that. So
Yeah.
I was kind of playing on hard by literally just assessing, but
Smashing the button.
pressing circle to get out of it straight away to continue battling. Whereas now I read it and I'm like, oh, so this guy, we need to use ice on him. I'd look at the element in the top right, and that's all I'd pay attention to.
True.
And I was really struggling with the battles where they didn't have an element, and I was like, well, how do I stagger this guy then? And I was just bravering
Yeah, 'cause
everyone.
you got like dodge, certain
Yeah.
attacks. So you
Attack
got
for
there's like special
parrying.
things you can do. Or sometimes it's just like be aggressive,
Mm,
like use Punisher mode a lot and just smash them with abilities.
yeah.
Oh, dude, I use Braver all the time
Yep.
because it just does a lot of damage, and
It's
it's
so
like one of
good.
my favorite abilities. It's just the
Yeah.
bread and butter. I love Braver.
It is. It's.
I would recommend using Prime mode more. That's
really?
actually pretty good. Or
Ooh, I don't know if I
I
have
think
that
it's
yet.
pretty strong. Yeah, I can't remember which weapon you get it for. So
Oh, nice. Okay,
I
so
like
it's new ability coming
the
up. Nice,
the
nice.
weapon system that they've done again in this from the last one, where you have to use the ability of the weapon to unlock it and use it with
Yeah,
any
that's
other.
cool.
Like
yeah,
I think that's
Mhm.
really good, and I
I
always
like
like
that.
getting a new weapon because
And
that's
trying it.
how for me. That's how I discovered that Barrett was such a good character. Because I was like, I
Yes,
played as him in the last game. Tifa, I'm not too fussed about because I used Tifa the whole last game.
I did.
So I
I did
kind of
too.
subconsciously went, if I'm gonna have a main party, I'll have Yuffie because Yuffie's combat in Intergrade was great, and I was like,
It's cool. She's cool.
and probably Barrett or Red, and I had Red, Tifa, and Cloud until I got Yuffie, and then there
Okay.
was a boss where I was just getting rolled. I was like, I'm gonna have to use like a ranged it. I'm just gonna try Barrett, and then as soon as I used him, I'd kicked Tifa out, and I was like, we're
Go make
boys.
it
The
straight.
boys are here
Get out
now.
of here.
Red Barrett
Wilson back in town.
Red Barrett and Cloud for a long time, but yeah, he's great. He's probably one of my favorites.
I love Red and Barrett's like little relationship they have going on.
Yeah,
Too.
yeah,
It's just cool. They're cool together. I like
yeah.
them.
Like you won't have you've not done like Cosmo Canyon yet, but I think for
Yeah,
me
I'm looking forward to it.
that'll probably be the whole highlight of the game
Oh wow,
because
nice. That's cool.
you have obviously the areas where you'll have a section where you play as Yuffie for a little bit, where you play as Tifa, where you play as Aerith. Although I don't remember playing as Aerith really. I'm guessing that's to come towards the end. But
It's a
I
spot,
love,
like in Costa del Sol.
yeah, oh yeah, you
oh,
get
the
to
stage,
run around as
yeah.
her, don't you? But I love it that the game has like different sections where you'll play as Tifa or you'll play as Barrett or
Yeah.
Red, and I've
me too.
for me they're my favorite part of the games, and I hated Kate Sif in the original, but I really like him in
keep
this one.
forgetting about him.
Is
I keep
yeah,
forgetting about him, dude.
see when he first joins, he doesn't really do much, but
Okay.
he's a little bit. He kind of jokes with the group a lot. And yeah, like his section that you play as him later on is really good. It's really good
Oh,
fun.
cool.
So
That's
you get
cool.
to just
Awesome.
control him and run around. It's really cool. So I think for me
And-
that they're like the
Yeah, I
standout
could care
parts
less
of the
about
game.
him.
Yeah.
I could care less about him. He's just so like he's just so different looking. Like it's like
Mm.
what is this thing? Like he just doesn't look cool.
Mm.
I don't know what they were trying to make with him, but I get like they were trying to make that kooky zany weird character.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like so yeah, I'll have to see how he is in this one because I couldn't care less from him in OG 7. That's just me though.
Yeah.
I
What-
tend not to use them because, like, you know the way you can build a relationship with the
Yeah.
rest of them,
Oh yeah.
and because you
yeah.
don't build one with him, I
Hmm.
don't use him. Like,
Yeah.
It's like it's waste.
Yeah.
Get
It
out of
is.
here. You're never gonna be my friend.
Well, it's like I've been dreading to, because I've not actually had the full date scene yet. You don't usually get the date scene till the part we're at in the original Keanu, because that's the bit where you go
Yeah.
off, do your date, and it's when you come back is when it all kicks off. And so,
Really? Damn, I thought you would have done the date by now.
well, I
Holy
thought
smoke.
when you first go to Golden Saucer is when the date, but it
That's
gets
what I was
sort of
thinking.
cut short in the original there,
Oh.
and it's not until like you call, because I think something happens in the original story where it's like, oh, we all just need to go and have a chill and have a bit of fun. It's when you've just gone through Mount Coral for the second time, when you've come out of it, and Barrett's just a bit sad because obviously it's where he was from or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I think I forget the point I was making now. Oh yeah, with like I've been dreading all along because I've had Yuffie in my main party. I'm like, if somehow I get my date scene with Yuffie, I'll fucking delete the save. I can't do it. Like, I like her combat,
You
but
fucking pervert.
I
She
hate
is 16
Yuffie
years
so
old,
much.
dude.
Like in the original, I always took her in my main
Ridiculous.
party until like you do the last boss because she can
Okay.
morph enemies into sources and then you
Oh.
can power level and you can basically just get unlimited stats on everyone. So she's good for that.
I see.
But yeah, I think for me, she's a great combat, but her character is just. I guess she's the youngest of the group.
Like her. It's funny,
yeah,
you know what
me
I mean?
too.
Like, she's endearing. But go ahead.
She's goofy. I guess she's goofy and she's the youngest, but it's so in your face, and it's like people think that like, oh well, she's the youngest of the group, so that excuses her just to be fucking obnoxious all the time. There's a scene you won't have had it yet, Coops. It's not really a spoiler, but you see a grave. You see a grave, and everyone's like kind of being respectful, and she's just like, "Why are you all being quiet? Why are you all not doing it?" It's like, I get you're 16, but anyone at 16 just knows how you behave. Like,
yeah,
But I think that's like the actual cultural difference for like.
Yeah, I suppose.
She doesn't actually know what they're doing.
Yeah. So it could be that, but
they view death differently.
yeah,
maybe
because
over
I'm guessing in Wutai they probably don't have graves. They would have a place of like worship, but
with her friend that died.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Like, well, spoilers for whatever the old. But yeah, she was like devastated. You know what I mean? She was like, oh my god, Shinra! Ah! Well, like she was gonna take the whole fucking corporation down because of it. So, but. I find her. She's no. I agree. I can see how she could be annoying. Absolutely, it's a little too much. But I do find her endearing. You know what I mean? She's just kind of like she just makes me chuckle. You know.
And I thought because she's been in my party so much, I was like, maybe she'll grow on me. I was like that with who was it? There's someone. Oh, it was when I played Resi 2 back in the day. Hate Sherry, and then it wasn't until like I was older. And I like stood in a fucking corridor. I went to the toilet, came back, and Sherry's like holding on to Claire's hand, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? She is just like an innocent little kid." I feel bad now for like standing her in the little fucking tube where she can get eaten by cockroaches. It's like I feel bad now for murdering her all these times.
Yeah,
But,
that's right. You still did it though. But
yeah, still did it. But now I feel bad when I do it. But yeah, with Yuffie, as the time's gone on, I still haven't like. She grinds my gears. Like every time you get on a chocobo, she sings a chocobo theme. It's like, please, why?
Shut up, God, please.
And I love Cloud's character is perfect. Like I don't want him to change in the third game. I keep him as just like a cold dickhead because Yuffie all the time is just like, oh yeah, guys, let's do this. Or anyone would be like that, and he's just like. No.
Yeah.
And he'll walk off. And I'm like, yes, that's how I want to react. So I feel like Cloud is like, they've got Cloud perfect. I feel Barrett
I agree.
is perfect. Like, I always thought Barrett was like a really serious character from playing the OG, but this one, he's kind of more like, he is
almost comedic relief. Like he's breaking out of his shell. I like it.
Definitely.
I like him. In Midgar, like it kind of makes sense. Like in Midgar, he was like doing this, like I'm the leader of this avalanche terrorist group, you know what I mean? Like we're destroying these reactors for the good of the planet, like he was more serious and stern and intimidating. But like now he's not really that intimidating. Cloud was never intimidated by him, but you know what I mean? Like he is an intimidating presence. Where in this, I love him. He's just a big lovable goofball. I mean, obviously there's moments and stuff where he's badass, but I love Barrett.
Yeah.
So and him and Red go back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like constant, but like they have a cool relationship brewing, like almost like a cop, that's almost like a dog buddy cop movie type relationship they have going on. It's cool.
Definitely. Yeah.
I like all the characters in different ways. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm the same with Barrett. Like Red is my favorite, but I thought Red was gonna be because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna get Red right because Red is like the knowledgeable one. Although he's young in his race kind or is his his whatever he is. He's not old, but he's older than everyone else.
Yeah.
In like Earth, like human years, isn't he? But I like it that he's like really knowledgeable, but he has this like jokey side to him as well. Like the boat. Did you do the card part on the boat? Because I said when they're all in like dressing up, pretending to be Shinra, I was like,
"Yep,
Red is just a dog. Like they're not going to do it. I don't think they'll do it. And then obviously you get on the boat. I was like, nah, they're not going to do it. That's a shame. And then when you get the fucking when you beat the last guy I was like, that's perfect that they are.
He was like moonwalking.
He's
like
Michael
Jackson, man. He's moonwalking, like showing up.
And I think stuff like that, they've obviously taken like inspiration from
too.
other games. Don't take themselves too seriously. Like it's great. Like I'm glad that Final Fantasy can do that as well. It always has kind of done stupid shit like that, but I'm glad that in a game like this, I didn't think they'd do much jokey things. It's like a very not doom and gloom, but it's just like a very serious sort of game. So
yeah,
it's cool that they can still see that like different sides of it and do that.
It's funny that you say that, like Red riding a chocobo. I'm like sitting there. Why wouldn't he just run? But it's funny. It's cool.
Yeah,
it makes me laugh.
Yeah,
he might wants to rest.
Yeah, exactly. He gets. I don't think there's any other way they could have done it, and they probably were thinking, do we have him just run like all the time? But then they might be like, well, that's just really like people are going to question that. Well, he's just ran for fucking 7 hours straight. Why is he in battle now?
You gotta fight, Red. You gotta fight. They're coming. Sephiroth's coming. I'm so fucking tired, Cloud. I'm so hungry. Shut up, Red. You gotta fight. He's like, they're running for 500 miles. You idiots. There's just another chocobo with nothing on it. You gotta put potions on it, Red.
That's where all the items go. Yeah, you have to run,
that's where the items go, bro.
Yeah. So I think characters. I think they generally nailed all the characters. The only thing I'll say, which is weird, I just think that they can't. Obviously, I'm not going to say what has happened with Zack. Well, not that anything has happened, but I just feel like the big thing of if you ask anyone, what's the one thing you're going to take away from Remake Part 1? It's the fact that Zack's alive. And if you were to ask us now, if someone was to come in and be like, and just wake up out of a coma and not seen anything about it and be like, so what are the Zack parts like? I'd be like, what? All 2 of them? 3 of them? Like, I feel like they've not done anything with him. Whether they're saving it for the really late game or they're saving it for the last game. I want.
Bernie's right now. He's just kind of.
It's like
around these bodies.
For me, I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain. I feel
especially if you don't want to spoil.
Yeah, because especially from Crisis Core, I never really got why people loved Zack. I was always like, it's a bit annoying.
He annoyed me at first. He had to grow on me.
Yeah, whereas like when I played Crisis Core Remake, I kind of saw why people like him. He's still annoying, but he's just not my sort of character. And then
I'm more of a Cloud, yeah.
Yeah, and then just the thought that he could still be alive and help is like that changes everything, really. If he's still alive, like there's like Cloud and him. Cloud and Sephiroth is pretty even fight, but if you add Zack to that, it's such an easy fight. So I don't know how they're gonna go about it. So
or you can make Sephiroth like to show like how overpowered he actually is. Like he needs Zack's help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Zack has to help him do certain things. Like, so not that I know. I'm purely speculating. So
yeah. Well, I don't know what route they're gonna go down, timelines or whatever. The only way they could combat it is Sephiroth finds his other side, and there's 2 Sephiroths versus Cloud and Zack, and Zack has to fight one, Cloud has to fight another. That's the only way I can think they're gonna do it. But not enough has happened. We don't know enough about Zack and his side. Like, it's weird how they've done it. I think they should just dedicate an entire chapter to Zack, rather than go, oh, you're going to play Zack now? And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, it's just 2 seconds.
It's 2 seconds, and you're like, oh, it was like, I walked to a door, and that was it. So there's been a couple of good moments as Zack, I will say. There's moments.
He fights different. He's not just a Cloud clone. Like he has his
Yeah.
own moveset.
Well,
When you fight with him in the beginning of the game, I'm like,
oh,
he's punching and kicking.
well,
Like,
it's
this is
like
cool.
you realize that he's so much better than Cloud at fighting
He
because
probably is.
he fucking takes a helicopter out. He like throws a fucking what's he throw it? The helicopter.
He's badass.
Like he takes all those gods out on his own after he's just fought like a million other gods. So he changes everything really, but I just don't think they've done enough with him, which is a shame. But who knows? When we all finish the game, and if we get together and say what our full thoughts are, we might be like, "Oh, they nailed it. They got him perfect." But say like almost 70 hours in, and that's the most the most disappointing thing to me is that they made this big emphasis on the fact that like that's what everyone took away from the game is that Zack's still alive, like, or something's happened and Zack's alive in some sort of alternate reality or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And now to be this far in, this deep to this game, and we still have no idea why they've done it. That's like, I don't get it. Yeah, they should definitely have had parts of every chapter, or just a Zack chapter. I think would have been good.
Throw some combat in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you don't have to
just
go
a bit of
crazy,
everything.
too in depth.
Give him side stuff, because give us Midgar. Imagine if they went, okay, you can travel between sectors 3 and 4 as Zack. That'd be so cool.
That would be cool. So you still get that Midgar taste,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
And there's reasons for him to not go to like where the Shinra building's fucking gone and everything in a minute because of what happened to the end, but the first game. But he can't go into those sectors because he's wanted, right? Because his soldier, they're out for him from like Crisis Core. At the end of Crisis Core, Shinra want him dead. That's why all those gods are like outside Shinra to kill him.
That's
so it makes sense that like why wouldn't go into certain areas, but
yeah,
yeah, yeah, true. And Zack has been a soldier since forever, right? That's why it makes sense that
he's top tier, man. He's like he can roll with Sephiroth, you know.
That's it.
Cloud is powerful, like he is very powerful, but yeah, Zack is definitely a step up.
That's something that I never understood. Is just like how does Cloud become such a badass when he was literally like limping around dead?
But isn't that like part of the not to get like I won't get spoilery.
Yeah.
The OG isn't that like he like inherited his like a big boss solid snake type situation, like he inherited his abilities type thing.
Yeah, kind of,
like and that's what they wanted to kind of do to be able to create super soldiers and like make more Sephiroth. I thought that was what was the original game plan, but so like Hojo's plan, but
Hojo.
I like Hojo. He's cool. He's
Like, he's really cool.
I like Hojo. I like the villains. I think they're all really good.
The bad guys are always good. Yeah, Rufus is great.
Cool. He's like he obviously his dad was like evil prick, but he's like different. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? You see like a little bit of good in him.
Well,
a little bit. You
the
know?
part at Junion where he literally is saying, we know that you're like you've terrorized because although Shinra aren't good, what Barrett and everyone did, they probably killed some innocent people along the way and people who he employed that he thought were good people. So he was like, we got bigger fish to fry here. We need to put our differences aside and get Sephiroth or find out what's happening with Sephiroth if he is back. And they're willing to forgive you, and then fucking Yuffie decides to go, wah, try and fucking shuriken him and kill him. And it's like, mate, that's cool. That shows you that he's like kind of like a forgiving, like he sees the bigger picture. Whereas after that, now he's like, okay, I want him dead, sort of thing. So, did you have any characters that you want to talk about, Keanu? Any that stand out for you? Any that you don't like or love?
I love Cloud. I love like, you know, he's just really badass, and I really enjoy like because in Remake he's just pretty much very monotone and like he's just very basic. In this, like, you can really like he's joking around. He's you know, he's really leaning into it, building that relationship with everyone else. I really enjoy it. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Which is a very basic answer, being like, I love the main character.
no,
that's a great answer. That's perfect.
It's rare in a Final Fantasy to not think that. I can only think of a couple
they do develop
where the main character probably isn't your favorite. I think 9. Zidane, he's too much of a nice guy to ever
He's kind of like
to
happy
be
and
like,
charismatic, which is
yeah,
the
and
difference.
he's
You know
like
what I
always
mean?
trying to pick people up and he's likable.
Right.
But for me, like there's like 3 or 4 other characters in that game that I love more than Zidane.
Which is a testament to that game. Like that game does
Oh
have
yeah,
likable characters for sure.
but in every other Final Fantasy, apart from 10, I can't stand Tidus. But the main
Yeah,
character in all of them,
fucking Tidus.
other than 12, 12 doesn't really have a main character. Really, it's more of the whole group is a.
Yeah,
I mean, you have Van, but I don't really
but
feel it's centered around him apart from the start of the game that much.
Ash is more like she's a big part
Yeah,
of
I
it
would
too, isn't
argue
she?
Ash or Balthier is probably the main character,
Oh,
but
really? Yeah, Beltier's in it a lot though. You're right.
yeah, I think in every Final Fantasy, it seems like the easy answer to giving it or main character, but it's like in 8, like Squall is the least. You see him go from someone who's fucking miserable, he doesn't like anyone he's with, to he
Yep.
has to step up and be a leader, and you see him transform into someone who didn't want to do it.
Yep.
He has all the fucking skills to do it, but he's like, I don't want this. I'm not bothered. I don't care. To being the person who's like, we need
They
you to
always
do
say
this.
those are the best. Yeah, those are
Yeah,
the best
and he
leaders,
has a
the
good
ones that
arc.
don't want to lead. Yeah, and that's what I do. That's why I love Squall. Yep,
And
for sure.
I've always
Yep.
liked Cloud, but I think the natural leader in the group is always going to be Sid in my eyes.
Oh,
Just
really?
because,
Okay.
yeah, I've always seen it as Sid. Just because he's a bit older, and not that just automatically makes him in charge, but I feel like he
Sure.
just deals with things way better. Like we've not seen much of Sid really in this game, and we won't really. But in like the original, the fact that when Tifa takes over, when Cloud's and he's fallen into the live stream and he's gone a bit crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that like Tifa, as soon as she sees Cloud, she can't lead anymore. She's like, well, I need to help him. I have to like drop. This is whereas Sid's just like, well, I'll do it then. I'll don't worry. And then all of a sudden, fucking Ultimate Weapon turns up, and instead of him going, fuck, what do we do? He's just like, I'll just go and fight him. See you in a bit. And he just runs in. He just doesn't give a fuck. And then like, well, how are we gonna get everywhere? Well, we'll just go and steal Highwind. It's fine. We'll just go and take that. And it's like he makes such more decisions than anyone else in that game. And he's like the natural leader to me. So
well, that's what like Sid typically is, isn't he? Like Sid's like the king in 9 or whatever. Like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
always like that character, the backbone.
Yeah.
Like you can, and obviously in 16, I love him in 16. Like he's that type of character.
Yeah.
Where he is like a leader, but he's not the leader. You know what I mean? Like he's just a character that like really progresses the story. The main character looks up to.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like typically, there's tragedy, but I don't know with I know with 7, but I won't say anything.
Yeah.
But and then like it goes to the main character and then they step up and into that role. So it's no, I love Sid. Sid's awesome. Unless he's an actual party member though, he's an actual like part of the group.
I mean,
probably not I don't know if it's in this game. I do know. But for sure in the next one he'll be like an actual playable party member. Yeah.
I will say as well, I've never been a fan of Vincent, but
I love Vincent.
Coops.
I think Vincent's really cool.
I'm excited to see when you do the part where you meet Vincent, and I'm excited to see what you think to it, because for me, other than Cosmo Canyon, the Vincent and Nibelheim going back was fucking amazing. It was so good.
Awesome, dude. That's my favorite. That's like one of my favorite parts about 7 was Vincent and that whole Nibelheim Vincent thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So whereas when I originally played it, he's like, if you get him in the party, unless you do his main, like his side quest, he says about 4 things the entire game. And it's mostly of them are just Sephiroth. I don't like Sephiroth or whatever. Whereas in this, I feel he's gonna be big. And I think they'll do in this what they did with Intergrade, but they'll do like a double DLC, I think, and they'll do I reckon they'll do a Vincent and a Sid, because Sid, I'm not going to spoil it, but Sid has alluded to things that he knows certain characters and like family members of them. So I think we're going to have more, like a bit like Intergrade. We'll play as Sid before this game, rather than like, oh well, when Cloud went off this way and Sid was doing this is what he did. I think we'll have we'll see the whole Rocket Town thing where he was going to launch his rocket and it doesn't. I think we'll play that and we'll do other things with him. I fucking don't have a clue what we'd do with Vincent, but it'd be daft for him to do a Sid DLC and not do a Vincent DLC.
Yeah. No, I could see that. That'd be a good idea. That'd be a cool way to continue the story.
Definitely. And it just keeps that interest up, doesn't it? Because it's going to be
Yeah.
like 3-4 years probably until the next one.
Right.
So if they drop a DLC next year and then one the year after, then you've only got a year till the next game. So, and then they can
PlayStation 6 remake.
Well, yeah, that's it. It'll even be for the Pro or for the. It could be like a release for the PS6, can it? At this rate.
I gotta grab my dog. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
be right
fine,
back.
mate.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, characters. I don't think
I
there's
was
anyone.
I was going to say about Red as well.
Yeah.
Like I really like Red, but I did not like, which is actually good now that
Because he's gone, yeah.
yeah, his voice change.
Do you not see?
I didn't like that at first. It's grown on me.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I preferred like his original voice. I thought it was really good. Like
I think his original voice is good, but I think for me it's helped him along as a character, helped him grow because he did it to. He says like, "Oh, I've done it just to fit. I did it to fit in, so you wouldn't like." Yeah. So, and I think like that's clever of him and smart because they're not going to listen to some fucking little whiny kid, are they? Give him history about the world or whatever. But yeah, for me, when that happened, I was like, "Eh, who's talking? Who is this?" And then I was like, "Was that Red?" And then
and you
the
get that
camera
first
cuts.
like little glimpse of it during the beach scene when he sees like Eric and Tifa and his voice.
Oh yeah,
breaks.
it does. Oh yeah, I actually didn't think of that. You know that happens, doesn't it? Yeah.
I thought it was just like he was kind of surprised, like, but yeah,
yeah, that's his true voice coming out. But yeah, I think yeah, for me, that's why we've seen like you get a bit with Barrett and what happens with him with Dine and stuff, but I feel with Red, he's the only other character that's had like a big like change, or like he's actually progressed. Not progressed. I'm trying to think of the word really. Developed as a character, I feel.
yeah, I feel like every side quest that's involving, the character that builds the relationship with them, like I do think that each one develops them really nicely. Like, did you do the one? You've done pretty much all of them, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like following the dog,
Yeah.
Salmon.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like, Barrett's talking about like Marlene and watching her grow up and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, that's pretty early on in Junior, right? Where you go to the what's it called? The something den. Is it the something den?
oh, like the fort place.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. The nest.
Yeah, that's it. The nest, crow's nest. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't think of it, but yeah. It's funny that Coops went because that's one thing I want to talk about, but Coops has not had that bit yet. So.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it as well. Like when you asked about characters, like, I really like Red, but I don't like.
You don't like that? Yeah, it's one of them that like no one likes a squeaker really. But I think because he's more than just like a kid. Like he's big. You know that like although he's young in his terms, he's old as balls compared to everyone else, isn't he?
Yeah.
We'll get on to the next point while we wait for Coops, and then we can ask him what he thinks. But the story, obviously you've played the original.
Yes.
They've done slight little differences with the story, like Tifa. Oh, this is where we have to be careful with Coops because I can't remember. Although it's not that long ago, to when Tifa like goes into the live stream. I don't think Coops has done that bit yet. But they're doing like where she's like in the Nibelheim sort of place.
Yes, in the reactor.
Yeah.
After like, yeah.
So that usually in the original that happens when, like in the second disc when Cloud's like lost his mind and she helps him find himself. So it's cool. I like that they're switching it up a little bit. And we're getting like subtle things a bit earlier.
Yeah, like I mean, they need to like for pacing, they need to do change up some things.
Yeah,
because you can't like you're not going to translate it exactly bit by bit because
Mhm.
then, which is actually what one of my friends, like Final Fantasy 7 is one of his favorite games, and like what he wanted was literally the gameplay
The
that we
one for one.
have,
Yep.
but literally one for one remake.
Mm. Yeah.
He didn't want all the filler stuff from remake,
Mm.
all that. But me, because I haven't experienced it, or I didn't at that point,
Mm.
like I loved it.
Yeah.
I eat it all up. Like give me all the filler.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's great even just to have more concept on things because in the original things will happen, but like I understand that like Midgar being an entire game for like 40 odd hours isn't everyone's cup of tea. But I feel that you learn so much more about everyone, and you go out of Midgar knowing everyone way better than you did ever in the original Final Fantasies, really, in the original Final Fantasy 7. So I like that we're getting more insight, but yeah, I get there's going to be some people out there that literally just want a one for one remake, but with nice, pretty graphics and no, like, yeah, no, none of the different stuff. And I'm not mad on the fucking spirits or whatever, like what are they called? The whispers, sorry. But
Yeah.
they have to do something different. And maybe, who knows? Maybe the whispers are just going to tell us a story of, well, this all had to happen the way you experienced it back in the day. And then maybe they're going to give us like an alternate reality where, well, look what happens if we do try and change things. It's not going to end up well. So
Yeah.
that
I
could
mean, like
be.
the story for the original is,
Mm.
classic, and anything that's being remade, no matter what it is, it's going to be judged really harshly
Yeah.
on the original. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm enjoying what they're doing with it,
Yeah.
and I do actually like the way it's differing because they're not ruining the legacy of the original one. They
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
acknowledge that happened, and this
Mm-hmm.
is now from you like changing those events.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's literally the whole point of like the end of the remake is
Mm-hmm.
like they're fighting fate. Like those little whispers that you fight, the red, blue, and yellow one,
Mm-hmm.
they're all like that's literally Cloud,
Yep.
Teeth, and Barrett,
Yep. Yep. It's like
which
the
is
original. Yeah. That
yeah,
I remember the first time I played it, I didn't really notice that,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's right.
but
Yeah, I can forget about that.
I really don't think that they're gonna the end. I think the end of the game will be identical to the original. I don't think they'll change anything. I can still see the after credit scene of Red and his little kids.
You think they're gonna play it safe
Oh.
then?
Yeah, I don't think they'll change much up from the original. I think they'll find a way to kind of agree with the whispers, sort of thing. I don't know.
yeah.
Not
It's
agree,
like
but
'cause
like they'll see the light of it, sort of thing, and be like, okay, yeah, we actually have to keep it on track. Otherwise,
I feel like Aerith knows that.
yeah,
I felt like from the first
Yeah.
game that she
Yeah.
knew everything. Like,
yeah. And I
but
thought at first maybe they're going to bring Zack back, and it's going to be Zack that dies instead of Aerith, and then Aerith. But it's like, well, if Aerith doesn't die and the holy material doesn't go into the live stream, then literally everything changes. So like the world ends because when the fucking meteor hits the world, the live stream doesn't come and fucking protect the world and save it, sort of thing. So yeah, I think hopefully they'll find a way and not. I don't think it would tarnish it because again, it's not Final Fantasy 7. This is a sort of a rebirth, like a thingy of it. But I think they know that out of any game that they're going to do, they can't fuck this one up because this is probably like the most beloved. It might not be the best in everyone's opinion, but this is definitely, I think you'd struggle to argue that it's not the most like beloved in the series because this is a lot of people's first experience of Final Fantasy, so they're always going to want this to be like what's the
perfect.
word?
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
think
like
of a more
perfect. I think
mainstream one than this. Like 10 comes
10 maybe,
close,
yeah, but
no, I think you're right.
yeah.
7, I think, is like the most popular Final Fantasy.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think with what Imagine Pot, I'll be honest, if Whisper thing ends with everything happening the way it did before, you'd be disappointed. I'd be
Yeah,
disappointed,
it's like
but
I'd be a little bummed.
I
it
just
was
think
all
they're
a
gonna play it
dream.
safe. I just think they'll.
Oh
It'd be
God,
nice
don't
to have
do
something
that.
different, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we still have to finish this one to see where they even go with, because
Mm,
before like this even came out, me and one of my friends were talking. We're like, where are they going to end the next part? Like, how do you do that pacing? Like, we
mm,
spent 40 hours in Midgard, just Midgard.
yep.
Where do they expect us to get to at the end of this second game? And we thought the end of the temple, which it's
It's
looking
looking
like it's on
likely.
track.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're also thinking, is that big thing from the original going to happen,
Yep.
or are they
I
going to change it?
I don't know if they're gonna. Are they gonna do the biggest cock tease ever and end it before then? And like we know
They
what's
can't
coming.
fucking do that.
Nah,
I
they
hope
won't.
they
Come
don't,
on.
but I just don't. I don't know. I'm excited, and that's why I wish I could just now go. Okay, can I just play a mode now where I just go through like to the end? But I know there's going to be someone, and I think I've got all the areas now, so I don't think I have to start doing them. But I'm going to have to level a little bit somewhere, so I'm probably going to have to do some sort of arena stuff. But for me, that's the only semi little frustrating part about it at the minute is that I'm struggling to continue and progress the story because I've not done everything. Because I felt a little bit burnt out at times. I'm like, oh, I don't want to just fucking go and get towers and you know what I mean, and go and find the fountains or whatever. So I've struggled with things like that, but like I said, the meat and potatoes, the fucking story is it's really good. I love playing the story of it, but it's the side stuff there. I'm like, oh, really? Just I dread going to a new area because I'm like, oh no,
Yep, I
I'm
get it. I
gonna.
get it.
Is it gonna
I
be
get it.
especially after the jungle? You got the jungle coming up, Coops. Fuck me. I got to that area and I just walked through it. I was like, I'm just gonna go to where I need to because I don't know how to navigate this. It's stressing me. And then the area after, I had to complete because the summon I wanted from that area.
Oh yeah.
So, um, so yeah, I kind of like forced myself to fucking get through that and find all the like nook and crannies of it. But yeah, I think for me, we were just talking Coops about like the changes that they've made. You probably picked up on it anyway, but the changes that they've done between the original and this up to what you played up to now. I don't think there'll be that many for you yet,
Okay.
but there's a couple. I'm trying to think the example I used, but it might be. Oh yeah, it's not happened for you yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's things that they've done like that would have happened later in the game or earlier in the game. They've now done at this point,
Oh,
which is
okay.
cool.
Okay.
And I think some people are going to be like, "Why are we doing this now? Why are we not doing this later on?" It doesn't matter when you do it. It might just make more sense. Like it might, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think yeah, I like the changes. I just hope that all these whispers are going to mean something because it feels at the minute, even to where we are, I'm still none the wiser, and I'm not really happy and being none the wiser as to why it's all like this sort of thing. Like I said with the Zach thing, like I just feel I really gutted that like Zach hasn't had his own chapter. As much as I don't like Zach as compared to everyone else, I just wanted more Zach to be able to. Well, why is he alive, sort of thing? Because at the minute it's like, well, why is he alive? It doesn't make no sense. He's not really adding much to it. But I suppose we've seen very brief, small snippets. Whereas with Cloud, we've been on like a journey of probably in their time is probably like a few weeks. So, did anyone else have anything to add? Coops, you want to add anything about the story or changes?
Oh yeah, no, the story's been really good so far. I don't like I said, there's just bits and pieces I remember from the original, so I don't really remember like when did this happen? Did this happen
Mm,
exactly the way it happened in the original? What did they change? I don't really remember a lot of that.
mm,
But overall, just progressing through the game and playing it, definitely really I'm really enjoying it. I remember like locations and settings, certain events that happen, but
Yeah,
so far I feel like they're kind of nailing it. But I agree with you. The whole robed dudes and like the whole, there's a story with behind the story, like
yeah,
what's really going on. I'm curious to see how that all ends, especially when like obviously now there's like two different universes. I'm a little leery that they're not going to nail that. Doesn't mean
yeah.
overall like the main story it'll still be like really really well done, but are they leading into some sort of like how is the conclusion of like the whisper? I know you guys were talking about this,
Hmm.
like the whispers, fate. You know
Yep.
what I mean? What's gonna happen with the with multiple characters is what I'll say. You know what I mean? Like multiple versions of that character. How are they gonna all wrap this up? I have a
Mm.
feeling how I think they'll wrap it up, but will they nail it? And I have it's probably gonna get a little
Because
silly.
in the first game, I thought they did the whispers so much better because they had like like Barrett gets stabbed, and I remember him getting stabbed in the Shimmer Tower. I was like,
Isn't that kind of a
what the
pump
fuck?
fake? It was cool.
It,
It was
it-
cool,
but
but I was like,
but it's kind of like showing you like they have the power to say no, no, this is not happening now. Like so, and I thought they have much more of an impact. Like what? Like for me and Keanu, they've done one thing in the story that you're kind of close to, but if they're not there, I don't think they really changed the outcome of what was going to happen in that section. So yeah, I just feel like I don't think they know what they need to do, or they've like we're gonna save it. Although all of a sudden at the end, maybe they're gonna do it some stupid thing where the world isn't gonna end, and Meteor's about to crash, and instead of the fucking live stream saving the world, maybe the whispers come and fucking save the world. Who knows? But I hope it's not like that. But I don't know. That's just me fucking thinking.
I'm not a big fan of the whispers. I don't let them bother me,
Yeah.
but I'm not a big fan of them.
I think if you
You know
take
what I
them
mean?
out, they're not really. Over the first game, they're quite heavily involved, but in this one,
There's not
not
The
at
many
one
all.
that
times that you see them. Yeah.
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. You don't really even see them in this one often. If I don't even remember when the last time I did see them, but they're trying to do that Star Trek thing, like with the new movies where we both exist, right? Like there's
Mm,
two different universes, and we can affect each other's universe. How is that going to play out? Does one universe have to end for the other one to, to thrive, or can they both be saved? Like that's what we're gonna figure out and find out. How do they pull it off, or do they kind of like bungle it? Do they kind of mess it up?
yeah.
So
Um. Yeah. So for me, just to before we move on from the story, I think the story and like the soundtrack, the visuals, and the characters are probably the strongest. It's the other things what we're
yep.
going to talk about, like the side stuff what we'll talk about next, and maybe the combat that lets the game down for me. Um, the story, if there was a mode, like I don't think there should be difficulty. I think there should just be a fucking story mode that you choose, and it lets you wander about if you want, but you can click a button and then it'll take you to the, or it'll just let you go to the next mission, and it'll leveled you up to what you need to be. I know that's like, well, why the fuck? We'll just watch a YouTube video then. Just watch someone play it, and all the main bits. But I just feel that so many people who aren't invested in Final Fantasy in general are never going to finish this game because it's that fucking. They're forced to go out and do all these like really repetitive things that they'll miss a good story. So yeah, for me, it's just that's my biggest problem with the game. That like at times I feel like it's like a chore. It's like it feels like I have to go to work to be able to progress the game. Like I get that
Yeah.
feeling of like, oh, I've got to do all this again. And it's easy when you've got chat and like you're chatting to people. It's easier to do it, but I could not imagine playing this game on my couch and Lee being next to me reading a paper or whatever, or scrolling through Facebook. I just could not imagine doing all these things. I'd just put the game down. I'd go and play OG instead. Like,
What's getting me through it is just exploring the new areas.
yeah, yeah.
That's what's really getting me through it. Like I'm enjoying it the first time through, but you're absolutely correct. Like the things that you're doing, like the live stream and the activating the towers, it's very Ubisoft levels of content. Like it's just very basic level.
Mm.
Interact at the most basic level. Hit triangle a couple times, fucking walk away. it's really kind of disappointing. Like they wasted a lot of the space that they had. They created such
Yeah.
a beautiful world and put bullshit in it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And like my problem too, like, and I said on this before, is not only do you have these mundane tasks, but you have a lack of enemies and a lack of variety of enemies. So you're
Mhm.
kind of just running around this world collecting materials,
Yep.
doing these kind of random offbeat. Okay, I'll go do this live stream. You're right, dude, it feels like a job
Yeah.
a little bit, where you're just like, okay, hit the button. Hey, but the game is pretty.
Mm.
So that's pretty much it. Like I'm just like, okay, well, I'm enjoying this, and I enjoy the little scraps of combat that the game just feeds me.
Mhm.
But like besides that, you're right. Like it's just a lot of monotonous, repetitive stuff. It's kind of disappointing they went down that route. It's like they designed the world and they had, oh shit, we've got 6 months left.
Yeah.
Like we gotta throw something in here.
It's like,
Like
the way I picture it is, it's like I said before, they've looked too much at, like, the prime example. They've not stole. It's the wrong word. They've taken inspiration from, like, they've seen what you, because Yakuza, no one played Yakuza for years,
Mm.
and then Yakuza's kind of got has got its own niche audience, but now it's kind of mainstream. So many people play it, like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, and now they've started dabbling in the others, and they've realized, well, actually, all these games are like, they've got so much cool and character about them. Like, they don't need new areas every game. You can just explore the same city every game, and instead of it being, oh, back in fucking in Satambori or whatever, you're like, oh, we're home. I'm going to go to the fucking shop down there and buy health because I know that's where the fucking shop is. So I think this game has looked at games like Yakuza, Witcher, and like Assassin's Creed. It does feel like Assassin's Creed, that like each area, it doesn't feel like it's a world. It feels like that we're just going around cities. Like Assassin's Creed 2 pretends to be this, you're in the whole of Italy, but really you're only in like 5 cities in Italy, and you expand the cities by going up a watchtower, finding objectives to go do. This is exactly that. Like, you can't, and that's where it's disappointing, where they don't look at what they've got as a franchise. They should just go, fuck everything else. We're Final Fantasy. Yeah, we can take inspiration from some things, but we're Final Fantasy. Let's go. For your party members, instead of just having them fucking block and do nothing, let's bring the gambit system back. So you've got Tifa and Barrett in your party. You can set up gambits for them, and they'll auto battle and prioritize what you want them to do, rather than just have fucking Barrett walk around and block no one. He's just blocking a tree. Like, he's not actually really. There's not much thought into it. And when you're playing the game and you're just in combat, you don't notice that. But if you take a minute just to watch the game and around you when you're in battle, you just notice so much. And I feel like they have a good thing. Like, it's Final Fantasy. There's the reason there's fucking 1 million of these games. It's because they sell well and they are fans of these games. But yeah, I just think they've done what every other game's done and seen that The Witcher 3, everyone's favorite game, more or less. And they've gone, how can we make our game like this? Rather than go, well, what did we have good in this Final Fantasy instead? So
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I played Infinite Wealth last month, but it does feel like it's somewhat similar, where everything's a mini game.
Yeah.
And
you know what? The mini games are so they're not all so bad, but I was really disappointed with the Golden Saucer, because I was like, oh, the Chocobo racing's so bad. Like, it's bad in the original, but I'd rather do the original's Chocobo. This is just
I really like the.
Do you
Chocobo
like it?
racing. Yeah.
It's addictive, but it's not addictive, but it's easy. Like, but they played it too safe for me. Like, there's no leveling your Chocobo up outside. Like, whereas in 7 original, if you didn't feed him a specific green, you weren't ever going to win a race. You know what I mean? So I feel like they've just made it kind of like Mario Kart. You just put different clothes on them, and that determines whether they run quick or they accelerate quick or whatever.
Yeah, which makes it a bit simpler, but it's more fun, because all I did in the original 7 was hold the shoulder buttons, and throw on Godspeed or whatever it was.
Yeah, there's no tactics to it.
I prefer the racing in this.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good night with Coop's mom.
Yeah.
Hold the shoulder buttons.
Hold the shoulder buttons and
For dear life.
choke the neck.
Yeah, like I was a fan of the Golden Saucer, all the mini games that had, because it has more Queen's Blood, which I
Yeah,
love.
I think Queen's Blood is the best thing. The best mini game that they've got in the game for sure. And the thing for me, for especially a card game, because I'm always going to compare it to Triple Triad, and it's not as good as Triple Triad, but I will say one thing Triple Triad doesn't have. Triple Triad is just a case of big number wins, and you just have to get the face card. You have to get Squall's card. You have to get every character's card or the summon cards to win. Whereas in this, there's like 4 different ways you can win a match. You can play the numbers game and you can push their lanes, and or you can play where you could not have an advantage and they have more cards out, but you could have cards that like replace other cards and do damage, and you can win that way. And there's a lot of fucking cards
really
as well.
Up as you play, it
really
does open up.
Yeah, I know you said you were like level 7. I finished the Queen's Blood.
Oh, you done the whole quest?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
nice.
it is really good. Like, I have a pretty basic deck. I just pretty much focus on the snake boss from the first area.
Yeah, that's probably the best 3-star one, or the 3 card one, because every time you place a card,
anytime like a card is destroyed.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So, and that's like both sides, and a lot of the AI will like use cards to
hurt, won't they?
Replace, not just hurt, but like it'll replace its own card, and then it might affect yours. So you might be
right. So even
yeah.
though they're doing that, that's benefiting you as well. Oh, that's an interesting way to play. I played for the longest time. I played with that, and then I went with, I think it was a summons card, and then it had a weird shape. I think it needed to be more on the front, and I prefer putting my 3 level 3 card at the back, so it's safe.
Yeah, so it doesn't get destroyed.
Yeah, so I've gone back to using that now, but I definitely use a lot of different cards. Like, and I've tried so many different like builds. Like I really like the. I don't know if you've done the part yet. Have you been to the Golden Saucer yet, Coops?
He's coming up to it, I think.
Oh no, you're coming up to it. Okay.
Yep, I'm still in North Corral. I gotta do like a bunch of crap in Corral.
Yeah. Like, and then you go there after, don't you?
We're talking so lovingly about. I gotta run around and fucking jerk Chadley off and do the towers.
Because when you go there, there's like there's like obviously all the bits like the little arcade, Chocobo, Battle Square, and all that. There's a like a what's it called? I forget the name of it now. Queen's Blood. Yeah, that's it. There's like a little section that is just all that, and you can do challenges there. And there's like a really good challenge where I don't know if you remember it, Keanu, but you basically are flipped over, so your cards have to face basically the other way. Yeah. And I was like, it frustrated me, but I was like, I like this. Like, this is asking me to play a totally different way. So yeah, that's definitely the strongest. But I feel that some of the side stuff, like the bit where you play as red in the like Rocket League shit, I thought that just felt really janky, and the controls just weren't great.
Yeah, it just wasn't fun. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There was another, and the other team was real bad. Like the other things you were competing against, or dogs, whatever the hell they were.
They're terrible, and they just as soon as 2 balls appear, they just fucking target you, and you end up having to score 3 goals on everyone to win.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I would not be mad if they actually made Queen's Blood just a mobile game, or just
that's what they need to do.
Cool. It's definitely grown on me. Like, I didn't know how much they were going to put into it. Like, was it going to be surface level? But now, like, as I keep playing it, even though like my deck is kind of trash and like I don't really have like a good strategy, I still kind of force my way through and win. Like, but I try to like bully the lanes and steal as many of like those pawn. I don't know what you call them, pawns. Those like 2, 3. They go up to 3 spots. I try to like bully the lanes, and I
Hmm.
try to control it. So
Yeah.
even I don't even want to see the points. I don't even care. I just if I can control the lanes, I feel like I'm gonna win. So, but the computer's gonna like reversing it, and I agree with you, Fluff. Sometimes they just have the perfect cards. It's just the
Yeah.
perfect cards to lay.
I
It's like,
feel
eh.
that's why for me, triple triad. I don't feel you ever get cheated out of anything in triple triad. I just think you just don't have the cards to
Yeah,
face this guy, or
for
you
sure.
fucked up. You played Ifrit, so his 2 is showing, and now he's fucked. So whereas in this, you never ever see what cards your opponent has, and
Yeah.
for me, it's like the game sometimes is just gonna go, nah, you're not winning this one, mate. I could just give myself all 99 strength cards if I really want, or it's just going to play the perfect card against you. Where I don't mind if there's different regions have different rules. They could have done that like they did with 8, but instead, them hiding that makes me think there's some sort of shit going on. Like, and maybe
No, I think
I think speedrunners might find, oh well, if you play at this point, you are just going to lose. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit tinfoil hat for me, but I don't
I
know.
just feel like there's been times where I've just outplayed myself trying to do a certain
Oh
thing,
really?
and
And like fucked
like
yourself.
yeah, like I thought about pushing the lanes, like Coop said there,
Yeah.
but then they have cards that will destroy and then take over the rank.
You got
Mhm.
it. They're good
So
at it. They have the perfect cards to take the lanes back from you. So you kind of like have to build up like a little bit, but not too far. If you go too far, he's gonna lay a card that's gonna take over 2 or 3 of the spots
Yeah.
easily. So
yeah,
I've had to like kind of change my strategy. And like you guys were talking about, there's cards that can like blow up other cards, so they strengthen other cards.
Yep.
So you can have like a self destruction deck where it's
Hmm.
like you can just blow up all your cards to earn points for like your Tomberry King or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But I'm not smart enough yet to like figure out like the strategy of what cards are the best to have and like where exactly to lay them to like win because but that's kind of the cool thing about Queen's Blood. As much as I'm an idiot and I don't know how to play chess, it reminds me of chess a little bit
Mm.
where you got to think a couple steps ahead
Yeah.
of
Yeah. You
where
can't
you're going
just
to lay the
play.
cards.
Yeah.
mm,
It looks kind of simple in the beginning, but as you play the game, it definitely gets a little more complicated, especially because they keep adding new cards that do new things and have new
new
Mm.
things.
abilities. So it kind of changes up the game. So, but it's cool. I agree with you guys on it. Like, it is the best part of like in terms of the mini games. I really do enjoy Queen's Blood. I
Mm.
like getting new cards and I want to keep playing it. Um, yeah, it's not like quite on the level of Gwent to me.
No, definitely not.
Um,
I
but
love
it's
Gwent.
still great. Like, it's not like a waste of time.
Mm.
It's not like, oh, this game just sucks. They just threw a card game in there. I felt like they went, no, we want to make a decent card game, and they did. Better than decent. It's good.
Yeah. I'd
So
say
for
it's
sure,
not as good as Gwent. It's not as good as Triple Triad. But from
I
what
agree.
I tried of Final Fantasy Nine's card game, I'd say it's better than that. I
Yeah,
never
I don't
understood
remember
Final
nines. I
Fantasy
knew it had
Nine's.
nines. I never. You're right.
But
I remember being like, I don't get this.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
confusing. And the thing with 9, not to like get too much off track, but there's like you can like in Triple Triad, a Tomberry is like a 3 up, a 5 right, a 5 left, and like a 1 down. Whatever Tomberry
Okay.
you get a million of those. In Final Fantasy 9, every card is individual. So although Tomberry might be kind of mid-level card, but he can attack in different directions stronger than other versions of him. So it was way too confusing for me, and I was just like,
Yeah.
the rewards for this, I kind of looked. I was like, aren't worth. I'm just gonna skip this. I'll do bits what I have to, but I'm not like. Whereas Triple Triad, I got every card. I did the whole quest.
Yeah,
So,
Triple Triad is the
oh
goat. It's
yeah,
so good. I fucking love Triple Triad. I remember back in the day not understanding Triple Triad, but being a dumb kid, like I don't get this game. Like just throwing the cards
well,
anywhere. Like I don't know what to do. And it's just like once you understand it, you're like, oh god, I'm an idiot.
yep.
It's just literally lay your card, the highest number on whatever side, it wins.
And the fact
It's
that
not
if you
difficult.
lose in Queen's Blood, there's no punishment. Whereas in Triple Triad,
Yes, I
they take
agree.
your card. It's like fuck. There's so much to lose, and I loved in
You
like
just hit restart.
yeah, that's it. Even like
Restart.
the people that you play. Oh, if I win you,
3
I
gil.
get 3 gil. Well, actually, motherfucker, if I just press restart, I negate that. So you never have to fucking give it me, mate. So it's just like, yeah.
Eat tonight, little Timmy.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
So
I'm just gonna restart.
yeah, but yeah, I think that's the best side thing. I think everything else is a bit missable. Chocobo Racing, I can see why people like it, but for me, I know that from the original, I know the rewards of what you get for Chocobo Racing, and I don't know what you get in this one, but it definitely isn't Knights of the Round, Quadra Magic, you know, like the end game stuff, and that's why again I'm not really motivated to do everything in the game because it's all just going to get taken off us. They're going to make the last game where we're going to start at level 15 again, and we're going to have fire, ice, wind, and I hope not.
Lightning.
I hope we can carry it over, but I don't think we will because
I doubt it. No, I don't think so either.
They're going to do it as, third game. You don't have to actually play any of the others. Well, thanks for wasting fucking 140 hours of my life if I don't have to play the first two. But yeah, I like the combat. Side missions, okay. There's nothing like that stands out. Like The Witcher, the hunts and the side missions are probably better than the main mission until you get towards the end of the game and the story.
I agree.
Whereas in this, I don't even at the start, and that's one thing with 16 that I did. I literally listened to everything in 16. I took everything in. I really liked the lore, the world. I love the world.
I like the lore. I did too. I love the lore in 16.
But with this, I meet someone and they're just like, we've lost a little bird again, like the little cloud bird that fucks off. We've lost. I was like, yeah, I'm skipping this. I don't care. He's just going to be somewhere. We'll bring him back. They'll be like, oh, thank you for bringing that bird. I don't care. I'm not like. So I've not really found any missions where I've been like, oh, this looks good. This is interesting.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty all just skippable, to be honest.
I suppose my standards are just lower and just easier to entertain because I love it all. Like,
yeah, but I think you love like just doing everything in games, whereas I like that if I'm enjoying it. Like with Infinite Wealth, I love that they didn't just throw everything at you at once. It like drips things in as the game goes, and you could argue that's what this game does, but just in different areas. But it's the amount of. Imagine if in Infinite Wealth, when you go to when you start in Hawaii and you want to go up to the top section, but you can't do anything until you've got all the towers and you found all the map. No, you literally just walk around and uncover. Oh, there's a question mark. There's a side story. I'll do that. So for me, it's I get why people can do it, but I try and do as much as I can until I'm like, yeah, I'm bored of this. I just want to do the story now.
Yeah.
Because if I force myself to do it, I'll hate the game, and I don't hate the game. I'm just like frustrated with, certain aspects.
I mean, the thing is, it's not like we enjoy shitting on it. Oh, I mean, it's fun to shit on stuff. Don't be wrong, but it's like not like I would rather have it be incredible in all ways.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I constantly talk up Witcher 3 because it's one of my favorite RPGs of all time, but because it's just to me it did everything excellent. And instead of like what's on the map, it just has question marks. So when you go explore these areas,
you don't know what you're gonna get.
It can be you don't know what you're gonna get exactly, and the rewards are excellent. Like in the beginning of the game, you could argue like, yeah, the armor looks kind of dumb, but as you go very quickly, you start getting badass armor sets and swords and just all sorts of cool shit, skill points. Regardless of what you're doing, you're in the event itself, the quest is whether it was a side quest you discovered or just like a little tiny mini dungeon, it's awesome, or like a bandit camp. And even though they repeated it, it still felt fresh and unique. Also, you're hunting monsters. So not to get into Witcher, but what I'm trying to say is they can take a little bit from that, or even like you were saying, more from themselves from Final Fantasy, and just have like a little less hand holding, you know, because I was playing the game and I had like an epiphany. I'm like, what's the number one thing that's bugging me about this game? And it's just how narrated and curated it is. With Chadley being everywhere, he just literally tells you all the quests, everything you can do. Nothing feels, I mean, there are surprises, but for the most part, like the meat and potatoes, like playing the main game and exploring the world, you kind of know where everything's going to be. There's not that sense of like, whether it's whether it's Elden Ring or Skyrim, Fallout, like this sense of holy crap, I discovered this cool thing, or I found this enemy in this area, or you
Mm.
didn't find this, I found it here, and there's not much of that. You're
Yeah.
all if you all do everything, you're all gonna kind of run into the same content. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you can miss things here and there, but it just doesn't feel like. And it could have been very simple. They could have had less Chadley and just let you discover things on your own and just
Mm.
go, oh, okay, and then just put better enemies there, little mini bosses. I felt like would have made this a little bit better for me in terms of the overall playability of the game.
Yeah.
So
It's like they gave the most annoying person in the first game a phone
I imagined.
to fucking message us at every possible, like, I like the fact that they had tried something new, and like, to get this, how you get this sort of material in the summons. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like the VR stuff so much, but
No,
Um,
VR stuff. Ugh.
but why
That's where most of the
then
combat
make
is.
him? He's almost like a main character, isn't he? It's like,
Yeah, I can't stand.
but yeah, that's very true. What Imagine put, devs are terrified that players will miss stuff. And if that's what she said, I just read devs are so scared, and I'm just guessing that's what I meant. Because the game is so good, you want to go back and find new things. Yeah, and I think they've played the easy route here and just gone, well, we want everyone to find this item.
Got it.
So we're gonna direct you there, and we're gonna And I just think, mate, just they never did that in Final Fantasy back in the day. Like, you could miss all sorts. You wouldn't get anyone's ultimate weapon unless you explored like the whole map.
Almost too ambiguous.
Yeah.
Like you needed a guide.
You need a guide, or
too much.
Like someone who had an older brother, like my mate's brother, not
That
Tom,
knew.
we know, another Tom. He gave me a little notepad for Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and it had all the tips, like who has all the cards, who I need to lose cards to get others. Without that, I wouldn't have experienced like the full thing of those games, because my stupid fucking brain doesn't know how to do any of that shit.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I'd missed tons of shit.
Yeah. So whereas I think in games, it's just games in general nowadays, isn't it? Like they
very
handhold you, guide you, and everyone has the same reaction, and it's a bit. I don't think that's really
Elden Ring, how popular Elden Ring is. You know what I mean? Like Dark Souls in general, that they've shown that you don't.
You can still do it.
Have to do
yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how long?
Freeform.
When Elden Ring first out, me, you, DKC, I can't remember who else was playing it. We were racing to find the first invisible wall. And it was like 50 hours in, I found 4 in a dungeon.
Otis was playing.
Yeah, Otis as well, yeah. And I was like, we were in a Discord call. It was like 5 a.m. Lee was asleep. And I was like, oh my God, I found an invisible wall. And then I rolled again. Oh my God, I found another one. Like,
were you the invisible wall?
Yeah.
Where the hell are you, Fluff? What the fuck?
But in this, I just feel like everyone has the same experience. And
you got it.
It's cool because there are some epic moments, but there's not any epic moments outside of the main story anyway. Like, there's no side mission where you're like, oh my God, people are going to miss this.
You got it. They gave me this really cool item. And the thing is, they allow you to go back. So even if you miss something, you can get
you still gotta find it.
I mean, you can go back. You can be like, dude, I got this awesome thing. Where did you get it? Well, I got it in Junin, or I got it in this region. How? What? I'm going back right now. And even if you can't go back at that particular time, your buddy at least go, don't worry, you can get it. You know what I mean? You just might have to wait a couple chapters, or you know what I mean? Oh, okay, at least I can go back. You know, like don't do the thing that 12 did originally. Remember, like, you couldn't get the ultimate weapon unless you didn't open these particular
How
chests.
do you ever know that to not open chests? And you're going to open a chest if you see it in the game.
A chest in any game, especially Final Fantasy, you're like a crackhead. You're like, oh, I need my chest. I need my chest. Like, you open everything. It's candy. Like, they changed that. They did fix that because they knew better.
Yep.
But
it's and it's
could be imagined. Yeah.
I don't think it's the devs. I think it's publishers wanting.
Could be.
But for me, it just killed. I said this to Coops yesterday. I love Final Fantasy. I've played every Final Fantasy multiple times. I'm playing through 16
you're
offline.
An expert. Yeah.
But I don't see myself ever playing this game again. Unless in like 3 years' time, unless the game story, I'm blown away by it at the end, which I've not been blown away by it. I've just enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
And maybe before whatever they do next, re-jerk. I don't fucking know what it's going to be called next.
Jerk. I like that. Yeah,
Maybe
that
I'll
one
play
looks
through
fun.
it and do like a story run on easy, but yeah, I can't see. And I played Remake 3 or 4 times, so with this, I don't see me doing it. I just there's too much monotonous shit that I'm just like, I don't want to do. I don't want to sneak and catch chocobos ever again. Please. Oh, Poops, you've not even done the worst one yet, mate.
Oh
I know,
god.
dude. Go ahead, Canna. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, like, I'm laughing at the sneaking up on the chocobos.
Yeah, that's so stupid, dude. Like, I get like it's a mechanic in a lot of games where you sneak up and stuff, and it could be well done. Like in Red Dead, that's where it's really well done. Like trying to get new horses and stuff like that, like breaking them in. But this feels just very surface level, like most of like the mini games. Just scratch the surface, do this little thing to change it up, like the Moogles, dude. Fluff, I saw you doing the Moogles thing. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Like this is dumb. I'm literally just running around corralling the Moogles
Yeah.
in. It's like this mini game is just like time waste. Just we got to throw something in there to waste some time. Like this isn't fun. Like who's having fun doing this?
And that's
You
what
know
I'm
what I
saying.
mean?
Like
Like,
they've tried to take so much from like you. They've seen
yeah,
the success of like Yakuza's and other RPGs, and thought we need that in ours. And Final
yep,
Fantasy needs side stuff for the Golden Saucer, but it has its own thing. Final Fantasy should just take from it what it does best, not from these other games. If
yes,
you are, maybe do hunts a bit like The Witcher, where you have to investigate and it's this monster. We actually don't
that'd have
know
been
what sort of
cool.
monster it is. That would have
Yep,
been fantastic. Because I love hunts. I think hunts should be in every Final Fantasy because they're
I agree.
really good. It's a good way just to give reason to put more enemies in the world. Like, oh, why is this fucking giant cactuar in this desert? Like, if he was here, there'd be no other animals. Well, when you do the hunt, you find out
And
why
put
he's here and stuff. It'd just be,
right for sure.
yeah.
That's smart. Yep, and they
So,
can draw inspiration from Witcher a little bit,
mm,
and you can put enemies in the environment that just steamroll you, that
yeah,
you are not prepared for yet,
yep,
that you have to avoid. I mean, you don't have to make them like hunt you down. You can avoid them, but if you engage them, they're gonna kick your ass, and you're not
hmm
gonna be able. Good luck getting away from it, and make the world feel a little bit more, a little more dangerous. Like in
mm,
Final Fantasy, kind of had that type of shit where you could run into enemies and be in an area you're not supposed to be.
yeah,
You know, yeah, do their own thing more. Like go back to OG 7 or even just the classics and go what can we pull from this? And but obviously balance it to make it, so you can have story mode where everyone can play, and then you can have normal difficulty that feels like, damn, this feels good,
hmm
you know.
yeah, yeah,
So
definitely. And like, Imagine said, make the quests have like an impact on the world rather than just
yep.
being, go and collect me some fucking wood for my hotel. I don't care.
Yeah.
I I
Yeah,
don't
you're
care.
like, "God, I'm doing
I
that
went and
right
did it
now."
because I'm a fucking moron,
I
and I
know.
spent about 3 hours finding all the fucking zip
Uh,
lines. But
so stupid.
I've learnt my mistake. I'll never be doing anything like that again until it's
Yeah.
finished. But yeah, I mean,
Do you guys know if certain quests have like different outcomes? Because like if you can only get
yeah, the 2-star
if you decide
things.
to only get
Yeah.
Hmm.
4 of those 8 wood or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
That's a good
think
question.
that, well, Ruthers today was trying to do a mission with, I can't remember what. It was in the jungle area, and he couldn't find one of them, and he did the 2-star outcome instead. You still get the achievement for doing all the side quests. I
Mm.
literally think it just gives you a worst item, like the second tier down.
Oh,
I don't think it has like an impact on like anything else in the game. Because
Because
there's a couple in
mm,
there. There's one where you have to steal an item off a certain enemy. You'll have done that one, I think, Yanu, in the Junior.
I
so instead of getting 3
oh
Solaris,
yeah, yeah.
whatever it is, you'll get an
Yeah,
ether.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
yeah.
Ooh, whoopie doo. Or some
So
crafting
and a
materials.
lot of the
The
items,
ruby.
if they just put like unique items as the quest rewards,
Yes.
then there's more of them. It makes me want to go the extra mile. But if all I'm
Weapons,
seeing is, I'd
armor.
rather take an ether over a piece of equipment that I'm just going to find in a chest in an hour's time.
Yep.
It's giving me an hour early.
Or you have
Like,
to make it, or you can make it
yeah, you can
yourself.
just
You
make
know
it.
what I
You can
mean?
make better things
And
anyway. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think. But I think again, although this isn't new to Square, I think this sort of open world is kind of new to them, and they're still, even though it's not really, it's like, I am kind of making an excuse for them here. They should fucking just know how to do it. They should have the resource and the people to make it better. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I see
don't
where
know.
you're coming from, though.
I think they're still experimenting, and yeah, like Otis said earlier, there'll be a complete edition where they rejig everything, and they'll the best combat that's out of the 3 games, the best leveling, best quests out of the 3. They'll just make that for all 3 of the games and do like a complete edition and
The Final Fantasy remaster.
the
Last
remake
Us
of the
all over
remake,
again.
Rebirth,
Yeah, the remake of.
yes.
Oh Jesus.
But I think we've kind of gone over everything that I wanted to. Pros and cons. We've kind of gone through what we like and dislike. I've mentioned replayability. Can any of you two see yourself playing it again? I know Keanu, you're a bit like me. You
I'll
don't mind
just
replaying, do you?
I will. Well, it depends, like, on how enjoyable I found the
Yeah,
game. Like some games, a lot of games I won't actually play New Game Plus,
yeah,
even though people
same.
like, unless it's linked with a trophy,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, that's it. Trophy hunting.
and
Nice.
this will, like, I will replay it because I'll try and get the platinum.
Hmm.
So you have to like beat it on hard mode,
You have to beat hard
and
mode to fear it, don't you? Yeah.
Oh, do
yeah,
you? Ooh, that'll be interesting to see
Ooh.
how hard mode is in this one.
But you won't have to do everything second time through. You'll probably max level, right? I don't know
yeah,
what
but
max level
I'm
is.
not sure if it's going to be. I think max level is 70, but
Ah, right.
I think it's the same as like, or it might be the same as remake.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
just
But I
can't.
wouldn't voluntarily replay this game again. Like, unless
Yeah.
I completely just forget what the story is before the third part. Yeah, I wouldn't. And like for the first couple of days, I was loving it. I was loving watching other people. And I like watching, like, I watched Rubbers through the day. I watched Keanu last
Oh yeah,
night
there's
when
that
he was doing the
honeymoon
side
period.
stuff. But if someone's like the early part of the game, I'm like, mate, you've got so much more to do with this game. I can't even think, because I feel bad that you're gonna have to go through all these side stuff
Yeah.
and do 50 hours of this.
You know what's coming next. Here comes
Yeah.
Chad Lee creeping around the corner. Here he comes. Cloud,
So yeah,
answer your phone, Cloud. I'm calling you, Cloud. Why do you keep ignoring me, Cloud?
Cloud, can you go
Come
and
fight Alexander,
go check
Cloud.
more
He's
towers,
awesome.
Cloud?
Yeah, come on, Cloud. It's been a while. Come on, Cloud. Isn't it fun?
That's what I
Oh,
was gonna
Jesus Christ.
mention as well. Like in remake, to actually get all of the manuscripts so you could fully max out all the grids.
Mm.
You needed to do the side mission, so it's like you'd get one for beating the side story
Ah.
on hard. I don't know if this one will do that also.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are some missions, isn't there, where a reward is literally like a manuscript page. And like the Moogle stuff.
Yep.
The Moogles always sell like 2 characters per Moogle. 2 characters like manuscript stuff. So yeah. If someone was to ask me, I love Final Fantasy or I like Final Fantasy, should I play this? I would still recommend the game.
Oh yeah, I would too.
But
sure.
I
I'm really
would
enjoying
definitely
it.
say just play the game how you want. Don't feel like you have to do everything. Because in some games, you get people that I don't really. It sounds bad that I'm saying a casual gamer, but like someone who just sits and plays online games with their mates, not as a hardcore gamer as maybe someone who sits and gets really invested in a story. Maybe someone would argue with me, well, someone who grinds online, that's way more hardcore than someone sitting and playing a story. But it's just the way I view it. But I can see someone burning out easily trying to do everything in this game rather than just do what you want. Like, if you want to do all the side stuff, go for it. But it's a little bit repetitive. Just the story is there. You know, you can jump down the difficulty. If it's too easy, put the difficulty up. And I like how there's a lot of different ways to play in the game as well. Like, I think we're all using different parties. Like, I'm using Red, Cloud, Yuffie. Who are you using, Coops?
Cloud, Barrett, and Yuffie.
And then Keanu, were you using as your main party?
I've changed it up a little bit now. I think I'm using Barrett and Tifa.
Okay.
But I
Nice. That was
was
my classic.
yeah, I was using like
You were using Aerith.
Aerith
Yeah.
and Red.
Mm.
Yeah, Red 13.
So I like it that like I've not really watched anyone that has my play style because I play with Yuffie. Well, that sounds really wrong. I use Yuffie
Yeah, I know what you mean.
in combat because I
Gross.
find that I have the first strike material with Cloud, scan instantly, find out what their weaknesses are, and then use my abilities with Yuffie against them to weaken them.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but I also really like Red's fighting style. So if I'm finding like an enemy that's a bit tougher, I'll put that element on Yuffie and then switch to Red because he's
Red's
just so
cool.
much fun. Yeah.
All the characters really are, but depending on who you like, it's more just like favorite, like who are your favorite characters.
Yeah.
You play as those, and they're all real satisfying. Aerith is the only one. Like I like Aerith as a character. It's just her combat, like she's just like a mage, you know.
Mm.
So like if you like a mage, you'll like Aerith, you know. But for me, like I just like the synergy I have with the characters.
Yeah.
Like if I'm just fighting fodder, I'm just going with Cloud and kick everything's ass for the most part. But then if I gotta fight something and like I have to pay attention, I go with Barrett. Build up his ATB fast, lifesaver, so he takes all the damage,
Mm-hmm.
and then steel skin. And I have a thing where I'm locked in his folio where when he uses his overcharge, he gets a protect.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's just got all sorts of beef, and he takes all of the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I just gotta watch his health, and then so I can
He's
go
like a
in and,
paladin, really, how they've done his
yeah,
character, haven't they? Yeah.
yep. It's cool. It's just a fun way to play, and I love Barrett. He's just fun to play. Like just fucking machine guns, K Kona, just you know. So I go Cloud and Barrett a lot, and then Yuffie just to kind of like just to mix things up because
Yeah.
she's fun. I like how she's got the melee, and you throw her the thing out, and then you just fucking slamming with materia. So
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Yeah, Yuffie's really good because of the fact you were saying earlier. You can use any element, and
Mhm.
it's just a great way to pressure the enemies.
yep, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I really like that the new characters have them. Even Kate Sif, you've not got Kate Sif yet, but
Sure.
I was like, I'm never going to use him, and then you're forced to use him, and I was like, oh, I hate the fact that this guy has good combat, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of unique. It's like no one else. Yeah,
very unique, but it's
not my
very
style.
slow.
Yeah, it's slow. But yeah, and I hope that in the next one, when we play Sid and Vincent, their combat will be. I think Vincent's will be a bit like Barrett because he has a gun, but it'll be kind of a mix as well. And then obviously Sid will be like a dragoon because he's like his class is like a dragoon. So yeah, I think that gets me excited just for the next game alone because they're my favorite two characters, Sid and Vincent. Combat
Plus,
wise,
you'll have Vincent with the transformations.
yeah,
So.
with his yeah, just to see that in battle would be fucking sick.
I imagine like he'll have like his form, his like normal form where he's like shooting with his gun, you know, and he'll probably like dash around and stuff, and then like you can just like build up a meter where you transform and you just use your mods. That'd be cool. So he'll fight like melee and ranged.
I'm just curious. Obviously, in the next game, we'll see everyone's like ultimate ability, and like Sid's ultimate limit break is high wind, where the fucking high wind comes in and shoots loads of rockets. I just think, what are they gonna do that? Because that would be fucking amazing. If you're out in like the open and you'll just see the high wind come in.
That's cool.
Yep. That would be so cool.
The Crisis Core, like you know when you call in Sung or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Just airstrike.
Nice. They can't go on a strike. Call them the Helldivers. That's right. Calling it our stratagems.
But yeah, pretty much covered everything that I planned. It's gone over a lot more time than what I anticipated, but yeah.
Oh, cool. That's good, man.
Did either of you? Did any of you
me too, man.
Want to? Do you have anything that you want to say that thought of and maybe haven't? Even if it's like something we've just gone past, And you're like, oh, actually, when we spoke about graphics, I want to say this. Or you
Yeah, go ahead,
both
Keanu. If you
happy?
have anything, yeah, if you
You got a question?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Because it's not really a spoiler for the original.
Yep.
Everyone knows it yet. So the end of the temple. Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think
What
the same
with
event?
Aerith?
Yeah.
Um,
Or do you think someone else might?
I the thing is, I feel in this game, and it's not really a spoiler for Coops. I don't think Aerith has had much of a voice. So if she was to go, I don't know.
yeah,
It
she's gonna
wouldn't
play
have
a
that much.
part.
If she was to go at the end of the last game, she felt like a bigger character than Cloud at times. Whereas in this, I can't see them doing it. I think they'll build it more, and it'll happen in a different part. And I think something will happen where she doesn't die, and then they'll realize, shit, she had to go
She
there,
has to.
and they'll have to kind of like get himself in a position where she can
And they'll
basically
fight in
not
it.
just like chuck her off a cliff and be like, yeah,
Right.
but like,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
who knows? That's why I'm kind of excited because I like that it could possibly change, but
Could change, yeah.
yeah, but
It's so
yeah,
iconic. Like, will they? And if they change it, is it going to be better or are they going to fuck it
yep,
up?
And will
You
people
know,
be pissed? Yeah, yeah. So
because they did that pump
yeah,
fake with Barrett, and you're like, what? They're gonna
yeah.
kill, and then they just bring him right back. So I was like, okay, it was kind of cool. It was a pump fake, but then for them to just bring him, okay, that was kind of lame. I mean, I didn't want him dead in that
Mm.
moment. I'm like, I don't want him dead, but
I
you know,
liked
so
it
I'm
though
glad
because
they
it,
brought him
it
back.
it showed you like the power that they have, and it's
True,
like,
that is true.
no, this ain't happening now. This might happen later on, but not now.
Yeah,
And I thought, oh, that's cool. Because up to then, I was like, oh, they're just an annoyance. They keep coming in. We have to fight and beat them off, inevitably will win. But now it's like, no, they are actually a lot stronger than we can ever
true.
think.
They can alter almost any
And
event.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
when
one
I
thing.
was
Oh, go on, carry on.
when I done that playthrough of remake just before
Mm-hmm.
Rebirth came out, um, I like really noticed the events that they change or were changing was to make sure everything was the exact same as the
Mm-hmm.
original game. So
Yeah,
Right.
it
Yep.
was like keeping it on a
You
course,
got it.
right?
but
And
now
I
it
didn't know that. Like I didn't even as I played the game, I'm like, what are they exactly are they doing? Like what is their
Mm,
purpose? And I didn't realize that until Rebirth that that is what they were doing, keeping the events on track from OG. Like the way they happened in the original, that's the way the Whispers want it to happen. I wasn't 100% sure of that until I played Rebirth. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
That was that answer. Okay.
Mm, yeah. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm like overall, like I said, overall, like the game is great. Like
Mm,
if I had to score it now, like we talked about it, like not that whatever, it's arbitrary. Who cares? It's a number, but I'm thinking like around a 7. And I know it's
yeah.
like it's just so many high
Some
points. Like
people will
it's
say
so great.
that's low, but I think it's not an 8 or a 9, is it? Because that would be.
Yeah, just because the majority of what you're doing, the majority of the content is just that running around collecting materials.
Mm,
And I love seeing the world. I love seeing it for the first time. But once you kind of see the area you're in, it's like, damn, now I gotta go do this bullshit.
yep.
So, but it's still there's so like many great moments, story beats, still good boss fights, combat here and there. Like they did a lot of things really well with this game. It's
Mhm.
not like just like don't skip it. Like you should definitely, if you like Final Fantasy or action
It's it.
RPGs for that matter,
Yeah,
I still definitely
absolutely.
recommend it.
I'd say
So
play it for sure, but
for sure,
the
but it's
thing I'm most
disappointing some
excited
ways.
about is yeah, how they handle it, and if they handle it awfully, then
We're gonna shit
we'll
on it.
come to that bridge. But yeah,
We will cross that bridge when we get there.
but yeah, thank you both for coming on. Don't like bothering people and saying, "Oh, do you want to do this with me?" Because I just feel like I took up both of enough of your time with this, but it's good just to get other people's opinion rather than me just sit here for an hour and chat. You know what I mean? So
No, thanks for having me on, dude. I'll
yeah,
anytime, man. It's been a blast, dude. I love it. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while is do like a little podcast thing, and this is a nice little easy way to break into it and hey, talk with my friends. about games, that's fucking awesome, man. So I'm honored. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. I'll give you both a shout out. If for any reason, no one is following either Keanu
Thank you guys. Thank you
or
guys.
Coops.
Yeah,
Chad,
thank
I'm
you.
always reading it. You guys are awesome.
I
Thank
was,
you.
yeah, very fun.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
And it's good to
I
get
enjoy doing
like,
it.
because we all play games differently. So like,
Yeah.
Keanu is very much of a completionist. He'll do everything. He'll get all the trophies. I play a game as much as I can do until I get kind of like, And Coops, you coop everything. You never finish a game. So
I just abandon it. I just burn it down to the ground. Coop that shit.
Yep. We're still waiting for you to finish.
Shame. I feel shame for about like the first day, and then afterwards, I'm done with it. I don't care. No mercy.
You just go YouTube ending of.
Watch it.
You just
But
put
I
end.
won't coop this one. I
No.
won't coop this one. He says, "No, not this time."
2 hours later. Oh, it's uninstalled. Can't bothered. It's too much.
I'm done. Yeah, it's over. I'm good. I'm watching it on YouTube right now. Best ending, of course. I would have got the best ending, but
Yeah, full material, full everything, all items.
right.
Chadley maxed
Collectible.
out. Summonable
the
Chadley.
Run. The Keanu run.
Yeah, you're just gonna watch Keanu's VODs. That's all you're gonna do. Download them.
Yeah, true. There you go. That's it.
Yeah,
that is true.
But yeah, thank you both for coming on. Definitely, when Coops finishes this game in like 3 years' time, we'll get together and
and we'll do
we can do a
spoil cast.
Although we've done like semi spoilers, I think it's for anyone else who's playing. If you've played the game, you're gonna be up to at least where you are, Coops. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I'm crawling for the most part.
Yeah, but it's taking your own pace, isn't it? That's the best thing about games. Like, you do what I do and fucking do. We're not gonna sleep streams, or you can do streams where, you just do what you want, or just play in your own time. So, thank you both so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Yeah,
definitely. If I ever do anything like this again, I'm more than down to ask anyone to come on. But there was certain people that I thought I really want to get on if we're going to do something like this, because we all know each other, which is the easiest thing. But like, we all gonna have different opinions about certain things. So yeah, thank you guys. I honestly I can't thank you enough.
Man.
I really appreciate you both.
It's great seeing your views about it, especially because normally I'm just like, it's good. I like it.
Yeah. I'm known for being like over positive with games, but I can see past some of the annoyances. It's only at times where I'm like, okay, yeah, now I see why everyone else don't like it. But yeah,
and I think we're afraid, like, oh, if I critique it, I'm not gonna like it as much, and that is true. Sometimes, like, it's like, oh man, I gotta like stop shitting on this game so much because I'm gonna talk myself out of it. But this is one of those games. Like, I'm definitely enjoying it. I definitely want to keep going, see what's next. It is a good game, and there's gonna be people that hate it. There's gonna be people that love it. It's going to be kind of polarizing, but the reason why we talk about this stuff we don't like is like for hopes that they could improve.
It's better, yeah.
Here, of course, but like we can bounce ideas off each other, and hopefully it kind of spreads, and other people are talking about the same things, and because you can always find someone who kind of agrees with you, and then you find wherever, and then you go, okay, cool. At least these people, because we just want it to be better. It's not to shit on the game. There's plenty of idiots out there that just, well, it's garbage. It's not on Xbox, so it's garbage.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we can see the good and bad, so I enjoy talking to you guys and about games, or, and I'll come on anytime you'd have me.
Yeah. So, well, you're always welcome.
I'm here,
both of you. Yeah, both of you. Are always
it's been
welcome.
fun talking to both of you guys. Seriously, I had a blast, man. It's been awesome.
And to sum it all up, at least it's not Shenmue 3, and it's not summing up a story like that.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
3.
So as bad as it could be, it's not Shenmue 3.
That is true. Yeah, but always be saying that. It could be worse. It could be Shenmue 3.
But yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate you both. And I'll let you get back to your lives.
Sounds good, man.
Not have to be a massive nerd.
Cheers,
yep. Thank you, boys.
Man. Cheers, Keanu. Bye, Fluff. Love you guys.
See you later. Love you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, I thought they were just going to both wave forever. There we go. Oh, shit. Episode 1 is done. Camera is on. It is only me now. Keanu waved. He did. Yo, thank you, boys. I really appreciate that. I thought we had a good little chat there. It went a lot longer than... He legit waved to no camera. Oh, that's fucking amazing, dude. Yo, thank you both for coming on. I really appreciate that. I've always wanted to do something like this where we just chat and shit about games. And I really feel bad that, like, I tried to read chat, but I don't want to